pressed a button.
Was that super muffled for anyone
Yeah,
else?
that was
incredibly muffled.
The button has been pressed. The button has been muffled.
Welcome back to Exalted 3rd Edition Dragon Bloods, The Crimes of Nature. Last time, the group was basically kind of dealing with the fallout of their own choices. Making some decisions to undo earlier decisions, going back to the Fallen River Valley capital, deciding maybe it's a better idea if we put the lid back on of this situation, kind of unbite this sandwich a little bit. Investigations were made into the demonic presence in the city and outside. The city father was spoken to by Absolute Repose. The city father claimed that there had been some sort of evasive presence of doom that he had not been able to pin down that had been starting to really irritate him. But clearly this had flushed it out into the open. The head abbot of the local Immaculate Monastery visited. A very severe and austere error aspect. And his assistant, Flowing River, who was much more approachable and, frankly, pretty much openly relieved to see a bunch of other Dragonbloods in the region who could tell his boss to not just theocratically kick a place over and go, my house now. Milan gathered a small band of like-minded and at least willing to listen politicians, and, easily bribed and swayed ones like Venescu. And with the power of, magic, frankly, and
White
also...
Joes.
Yes. Instilled in them a genuine desire for reform and acting in the governmental sense in the actual benefit of the people rather than themselves. What a novel idea. Beyond that, what else happened? I think that's the highlights of what happened beyond. Yes. Thousand Miracles Yang had a series of stories told to him by Absolute Repose about the history of the Unconquered Sun learning how to be unconquered. So it was an introduction to the faith, starting to learn Old Realm, and other things like that. So, other than that, I believe the group had been split slightly into wandering around in the woods and coming back. And after that is gathered back together in the city after the hubbub, ready to plan their next move.
There's this
What on
point
earth
on
are
the
we
map
doing?
that says bandits. It's right there. It's right down the road.
So yes, to remind, the things that had been brought up over the little gap we had was there is the valley marked bandits on the map provided to you that is mentioned as being a source of a group of towns and cultures that will kind of ride out and pillage and ride it back, kind of hooting and hollering, cattle stealing kind of thing. And also
incredibly ordinary low-level warfare.
Yeah. So there was also the fact that y'all hadn't had an update on the conflict between the Jade Orchid and the Bronze Axe for a little while now, so you were interested in possibly checking on that. So those were the two major things on the to-do list out of character over the past 2 weeks since we had the game, so.
It's been a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I have been very sick.
Yeah, no, it's not on anybody's fault. It's just shit happens.
Glad to
My
hear you're
ribs weren't
feeling better.
working.
Though.
Yeah, I'm glad for the recoveries.
Yep.
So yeah, the group is once again in charge of, what do next.
And so that disconnect of, as a player, I have suggested a course of action that my character is not going to be the one to want to bring up.
Right, of course.
It would be someone else's idea.
Who would want to go kick Bandits' ass?
Proposes
Who
readily and
indeed?
opportunities to make Yang learn words.
Yang's probably too confused about morality right now to actually think about kicking someone's ass.
So, we need to head northeast. And we need to do it soon, because that whole situation, we haven't been there long enough that it could have boiled over into something absolutely horrible. But I'm a little worried about this country, or city-state, whatever you want to call it, because they're in the middle of an uprising and unrest, which means they're going to be jumpy and jittery. And they're not going to be paying attention to their borders as much as they possibly can. Is there any way we can just take care of these bandits down to the southwest quickly and quietly so we don't have to worry about this place falling apart for the 5 minutes we're not here when we go put out another fire?
That's a pretty reasonable angle of approach. Yeah.
With the Stormwind Riders, we could get down there and back up pretty quickly.
Do we think this needs all of us or just some of us?
Probably all of us, just in case.
They're bandits.
I mean, like, what benefit do we get from splitting up here?
I mean, from what we heard from the other people, it's been a couple weeks, so I'm paraphrasing here. It sounds like these people are, like, forming a new nation, so they're just being a little rough and tumble with anyone who gets in their way and trying to gather as many resources as possible so that they're a little bit more independent. I don't necessarily want to squash them if they're just trying to live, but if they're just doing it because this is the easiest thing they can do rather than making their own way in life, then yeah, I'm going to come down at them like a sack of hammers.
So if they have no other option besides banditry, you won't?
If they have no other, if they're doing banditry because it's the easiest way forward, rather than they have no other option, then we were going to kill them, or rather, I'm going to kill them, and you all can just watch. It's fine. I'll take care of it. But if they're just going with all of the above because they are so like in a corner and they just need to do whatever they can to live, yeah, maybe we can have a conversation with them.
All right, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but...
And by we have a conversation with them, I mean the big man can go have a conversation with them.
So you are going to kill him?
At the mention of you saying that you would not hesitate to kill them, Obsidian would already be getting up to go with you.
Hey, look, it worked.
Reverse psychology.
Has Milan learned thus spoke the wooden face?
Yes!
Alright, well, is a really easy solution to if you want to check in every now and again.
There is.
Carve a tree.
What
Tell
if I
someone
carve
about
a
it.
tree?
You are now equipped to create communications infrastructure on a very limited but powerful scale.
I'm gonna need to find a good tree in this town.
It can be any tree, can it?
Any tree suitable for putting one's own face onto, yes.
Let me actually bring up the spell.
I mentioned this. Old men would not be telling you this. If you do not want to,
I mean,
he
Milan
would not give you this advice.
Milan would probably come to the conclusion on their own, just out of like, you know what?
Why else was Milan learning this spell, if not
Yeah,
for
just-
wanting to
Yeah.
have a phone?
All you
Yeah.
gotta do is tell
This
someone.
is
like,
Milan's new big infrastructure project. Why wouldn't you have a phone call?
I'm
here?
gonna take working off of this. I'm gonna think at some point during this helping out people, I just get hit with so many questions. Ultimately, decide, all right, I'm going to go create a sorcerer's carving of myself. If you have questions, bring it to the carving, and I can delegate when I'm gone because y'all need help.
Please
All
do
right.
in fact go talking to the wall.
So they kind of take this suggestion with like, sorcery, but okay. There's also the vibe of like, maybe keep that idea on the down low while the Immaculate is here, because aniconism is a hell of a drug. They are...
I'm just gonna put it. No, that dumb joke.
No, go for it. You've already got broken the seal.
Go ahead.
It's going to have an engraving that says, "Not an icon. Please ignore."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what, sure. In Old Realm or what?
Oh, in River Speak.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Number of people in the party who know Old Realm, 1.5.
Basic craft wood project with difficult. Oh yeah, that's just make a wood crafting project.
Yes.
Difficulty 1.
And it's like... It's there so you roll to do it, rather than... Like, the mask was much more complicated because you were bending the rules.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, there is a tree that's out of the way that I have informed my buddy. My buddy, whose name... Yeah. I've informed, like, look, if you have questions, just... This is how you can contact... This is how I can get in contact with you guys.
As a storyteller, just seeing the jokes, I would suggest a possible amendment of not for prayer purposes. Like,
No
as a legal
solicitors.
disclaimer. Like, not for prayer purposes. It's like, that's my legal disclaimer. Come on. I can't control it if they pray to it.
Worship is highly discouraged in this location.
Mm-hmm.
Faith will fly at this location.
Alright, so, yeah, this was just a one success needed kind of project?
Yep, just difficulty 1.
Okay, yeah, then it's not... Compared to the actual work of art you're holding in your hands with the mask, it's more... If it weren't for the mustache, people would have a hard time figuring out, who is that supposed to... Oh, right, okay, no, there's the mustache, I get it.
Oh, there's Wood Boss.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it's probably good that it's not a perfect likeness of you, and it just kind of looks a little rougher.
I found a tree that was covered in people engraving hearts and initials in.
Oh, so that's genius, actually. Oh, man, if you'd said that ahead of time, I would have given you a stunt for that. But, like, that's actually a genius cover of, this is just the graffiti tree that everyone's already fucked up. It's got a face on it now, don't worry about it.
Not the first face on it.
Yeah, it's not even the first caricature on it. Just this one's magic. Don't be a cop.
Don't be a priest.
Indistinguishable.
Okay, who did we want? Did we all want to go down to bandits, or did we
Yes.
want...
Yeah. It was the question was, do you want to split effort?
How long will it take for us to get there by magic cloud?
Like
An
an
hour.
hour.
An hour.
It's right
Like-
there.
This map, if I have to remember, is that's a
Right
line.
down the road.
It's like 5 miles per block, right?
It's 4 per block, and I don't.
Yeah,
remember.
that's an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
if
think,
we're
this
that
is
close,
40
then
by
yes.
40. This is either 40 by 40 or 80 by 80. Either way, everywhere on this map is within at maximum 3 hours cloud flight.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
18
having the
squares, so,
clouds
yeah.
busted open travel times for us. We can just be anywhere we want as long as we don't care about being loud.
Or having people with you, or supplies, etc.
Yes. If we want to drag the caravan anywhere or an army, then we need to slow down.
We might want to take an extra couple minutes to get there to go around this fire pit location thing or whatever. No, wait, this
That
is
mark is where a local Shadowland is.
that's a Shadowland. I realized that halfway through what I was saying.
Which means in the middle of the day, it's fine. It's just slightly spooky dirt.
Yeah, so we can just go right over that.
I am going to have to spend a few minutes planning out my path because, hey, guess what I gave up?
Yeah.
Oh no,
You have
we
to
have a
put-
map for exactly this purpose.
You
Yep.
have the map and compass, and you just start practicing, like comparing it to the angle of the cliff and making sure, okay, if I just kind of follow parallel to the cliff southwest for a little while, then it should be good.
Okay, good to go. And then Angler flips me around. Okay, now we're good to go.
Today's background project for Repose, just making a little collapsible pocket sundial so that he can hand it to his often disoriented brother and remind him of a certain thing that has been tracing a straight line across the sky every day
Same spot.
on the same schedule since before the dawn of time.
Time arguably got its idea from watching him do this over and over and going, maybe there's a pattern to that.
For my celestial circle upgrade, I'm going to give up my perception of the sun. I can no longer perceive it.
Good plan.
Man, actually, a solar circle sacrifice of I can no longer see the sun would be a hell of a fucking thing. The ultimate confusing spite move. But yeah, who would be actively interested in going to the valley of the bandits warmongering?
We'll paradrop
etc.?
directly into Crime Valley.
Yeah, who wants to paradrop in?
I've already explained Obsidian's role for being there.
Yep.
I'm wondering if Yang is actually going to opt out of combat somehow, but what would I do in the meantime?
Good question.
I mean, you could study up with Repose if Repose isn't going.
It's time to get good at Mahjong.
What? Can I start my project?
Yeah, actually, you could, because this is
Start
going to be a
thinking about
very
your
long-term
project.
project.
I a little rattled from consequences being there. So let's start doing a project.
All right, so
I am going to start making elemental mahjong tiles. I'm going to start with clear tiles of the green dragon with Jimbus juice. I'm going to make Jimbus resin.
yep. So you have a very pure source of water essence and an idea of what if I make a mahjong board out of the 5 elements and just make it a reflection of creation?
Oh wait, we have weird fucked up alternate universe Jong where like we have 5 dragons, right?
We can actually go into the details of what tile is what later. It's just you can go whatever.
I'm making the blue dragon tiles basically. With Jimbus resin. Jesin.
I think it would be the black dragon because blue is air. I think.
Is it?
Light blue is
Yes.
water.
Well, what's Jimbus
Blue is
represent?
air.
Blue is air, black is Isaac.
Jimbus
black
was
is
water
water.
and wood,
Yeah.
primarily.
So I feel like they
You
would
could
turn that
distill
into
that-
elemental.
You could crack that into 2 elements, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see how good. Okay, how do I roll to see how good I do at this?
This would be a intelligence crafts roll.
I am going to buff craft retroactively
Okay.
to how
Oh
many?
boy.
If I have 11 points left and I have 2 craft, how can I get that to 3?
That would be. Is it a favorite or an aspect skill for you?
No.
Then
It will
that
cost
is.
you 4 for the
4,
third
yeah.
point.
Well, how much
Yeah,
for the
current
4th
level
point?
times 2, so 2 times 2 is 4.
Yep.
It's okay.
And then,
then
4,
it would be
then 6.
It would be 6
then
so it'll
divided
be
by
10.
If
So
you're going
you-
all the way up to 4 points, then
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
that'd be 10.
Okay, do I have 4 points to spend? I just thought of this just now. I have 10 points.
So you're gonna buy up the craft 4?
Craft 4, yeah.
Oh boy.
All right.
All right.
The system that we said that was going to be bad, now half the group has it.
So it's craft plus.
As a joke.
Propose
Yeah, so
spending his
it-
time.
More than half.
This would be intelligence
Carefully.
crafts, and how exactly would you be trying to incorporate this into the tiles?
So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna make test batches and see how hard I can get the substance by adding either some sort of thing to harden it when I'm firing it up on Bunsen burner or by boiling it or something. I'm gonna see what it takes to get it to be like,
A
not
solid.
liquid. Yeah.
All right, so 1 die stunt.
That's step 1 in this process. Then we can worry about the molds and stuff.
All right,
Use
so
willpower for that.
yeah, sure. The first step of the process, as you are pouring one of your small vials of this liquid into a tube on a Bunsen burner and watching it begin to simmer and boil and turn into vapor is, wait, shit, right. This is the opposite of making something solid when it's a liquid. Right. You do the cold. You oven the cold liquid.
Well, I'm trying to influence, figure out if there's a stabilizer I can make it into a solid,
Right.
because then I would have to make it forever cold, and that's not going to work.
So
Unless
Huh?
I go find some perma ice somewhere.
that would be a good representation of either water or air. You would have people immediately arguing over which one it is. But in terms of
Didn't I
suspending,
get a vial of air from someone?
Milan had a vial of air. And I don't know if it got used or not.
It got used to open the portal in the wild.
Right. Okay, so you don't have a particularly pure source of air. However, you do have an idea. The Jimbus fluid is a suspension of mostly water with a bit of wood essence in it. And wood essence does involve things like, tissues, collagens, other, things that could thicken
I'm going to make a living mahjong tile.
Meat tile.
Oh boy! All right.
No talking about meat. Please don't talk about meat right now. Oh God.
Infused
I'm less
juice.
saying a living tile and more. What if you treat this as like a collagen or like a enamel, where you just seed it with something to make a crystal where it creates a solidified form?
Or I can make a Jimbus tile.
Yeah.
I mean, Yang would probably know this. I don't know this.
So basically what I'm saying is, in general, you do have your giant alchemical rack of ingredients of things that are not ridiculously rare, so you experiment around and you use most of the Jimbus fluid in your experiments, but you do get a set of, probably one small set of honor tiles of a proof of concept of these are elementally water aspected honor tiles, and they're not falling apart.
Well, nice. Only 130 more to go.
Yep.
Bring it, motherfucker.
So, Angler, Obsidian, Repose mentioned going.
Yes.
Milan and
Is-
Old Man?
Flying the ship.
Repose spent his morning rituals before he went off on this, going down to the riverside and spending a while carefully shopping around for a stone that is already pretty close to the final shape that he would want to save time on polishing, grinding, cutting, or otherwise reworking. When, nature probably already manufactured an appropriate thing. He spends this time talking to the river as though it were a store clerk as he goes about browsing. Each time carefully, checking how each one balances, looking for one that's kind of already nicely even and pre-centered. And then while we are traveling, he will be spending some time drilling a hole through that center point of this stone. Just with his hand. Just kind of picking at it.
Yeah, if there's a vowel involved in here, you can get a 1 die stunt on that.
Just balancing the rock on his hand and spinning it, and only if you look very closely do you notice that dust is in fact falling off of it, and he is gradually making a dent.
Your basketball spins, but it's drilling straight through it.
Sounds like everyone except
So
for
I think
maybe
every-
Old Man.
And would Old Man be willing to be dragged along if prompted? And would you prompt Old Man?
Sorry, what? What would I be prompted?
Do you want to go do combat?
Sure.
Well, not even necessarily combat.
You want to go style on some
Go
nerds?
pay a visit to a nearby people's.
He's just kind of following. It's fine. You don't really need to ask him.
We don't need to ask, yeah.
Okay, so the whole crew is going at this point.
Yes.
Old Man, much like Mo, just shows up when he's needed.
So yeah, it is a brisk hour or so of flight across the valley, across the scrublands, and up where the scrublands begin to rise up and bow down into a valley. roll me wits survival rolls from those who would like to make it.
Oh,
I'm gonna need
good.
a moment.
Sure.
That's Sana. Please,
Wait,
Sana,
am
save
I
us.
coming, or I thought I was doing a thing?
Yeah, Sonya's not there, dog.
That would be
Great.
Three
Sona would be the
successes.
only one not going.
It's fine.
3 successes.
Okay, so that is 3 successes from
Second.
both of you.
Give me a hot second.
Sure.
Again,
Nope. I
That's
botched.
a botch. Okay, that
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
okay. Ba-ba-ba. Wits.
Couldn't be perception. Had to be survival. Damn it.
Survival. One moment. Un momento.
Pose remains only vaguely aware of his surroundings as he just thinks about the movement of stone.
Angler is toying with his amber wristband while he's doing this and really not paying attention.
His Livestrong band.
Pretty much.
I'll spend 1 willpower on that.
All right, so that is Old Man, Milan, and Obsidian all get 3 successes, and they are thus just able to hit the threshold of getting information. Repose doesn't get anything, but also doesn't lose anything. Angler, I'll get to you.
Hang
Yay.
on, falls off the cloud.
Obsidian, Milan, and Old Man, as you are coming up on this rise of the valley, immediately notice a couple of things. First of all, geographically, why is there a valley here that's fertile? There's no water features that are coming in off of the cliffs or around it, or there's no drainage into it. There's no indication that this should be a valley that collects water, especially of large amounts of it compared to the surroundings around it. And it's very visibly more like grasslands and lush lands on the inside than the outside of the valley, which is confusing. Your best get would be maybe underground spring somewhere. Angler is looking at this and is immediately thinking, oh, this is a trap. This is evil. This is not... Land shouldn't be working like this. Something is fucked up here.
Okay.
So, as you fly in, I don't have the overlay ready, but you notice that as you are zipping in, there is a small handful of not quite village, but too big to be a hamlet collections scattered through the valley. The starting of agricultural areas, or like either the starting of or agricultural areas that are kind of only half developed. It's fairly cramped with people for how small this valley is in comparison to the other settled areas around you. And you swing by, probably on the skull for now would be, rather than painting in all the towns, just an abstraction of the biggest town that you can find. And just hover over it, and you can see that there is a fairly large crowd of people below you. They appear to... this one is a perception awareness roll.
I choose not to roll.
Okay.
I choose not to roll rather than 100% get the bot, like a 1 in 10 chance of botching.
The botch.
How about a 4?
Okay, 4 and 5. Repose, you look down and you immediately recognize, disparate band of migrants who are way out of their home territory. These are people who have been displaced from wherever they originally were and are now trying to figure out what the hell they're doing here. It is a large group of people who are probably looking, and this is kind of segueing into angler successes, primarily from the northeast and the north, mixture of, palish skin to darker skin down towards the eastern sides. From, like, the vaguely Viking-ish area of creation. they're way the hell away from home, and something either they just went wandering and didn't stop, or something kicked them out. You're not entirely sure. But it is clear that this is an enclave of a culture that is not one of the cultures that has been here for a long time. This is a fresh group of people moving in rather than 100 Kingdoms people that just kind of have been here for a long time.
How far off the ground are we?
Not that far. Stormwind Rider only gets, I want to say, short range above the ground.
Yeah, probably 20 feet at most.
I immediately jump off the ground and talk to these people.
They immediately scatter backwards, like, ah!
I just hold up my hand, saying, I'm not here to hurt. Just want to have a conversation. Sorry about that. I just got really excited when I saw who you people were.
They kind of stare bewilderingly, and you realize that maybe only half of them actually understand what you're saying.
Okay, I say hi in every language that I know.
Okay,
Let
me go
contribution
through that.
that I will offer in here to help with this. So Repose will very slowly and relaxedly dismount from the cloud. You kind of just it's weird how you even physically remain on top of one of these things, intangible and non-physical as they are. So you just kind of relaxes all of his limbs and flows off the side of it elegantly onto the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Spends a moment to establish his posture, and then just very visibly yawns deeply before turning to engage anyone. I'm going to offer some manip presence, de-escalation.
That is a 2-die stunt on your de-escalation, yes.
To just establish some chill here of, nope, non-hostile.
We
taking it
don't
easy.
give a shit.
Also out of
Cigar in
character.
mouth, both hands on a hot cup of cocoa.
Nice.
Out of character.
What's up?
What language would have Angler been talking when he landed?
River speak, probably by reflex.
Yeah, River
Because-
by reflex, but he knows a lot of languages.
You're gonna have to remind me what ones they are.
I'm trying to figure out where I put it on my list.
And
There is actually a thing in one of I think it might be in merits. There's a thing for languages.
Here we go. River tongue, low tongue, flame, and forest. Also, he speaks high tongue as well.
Okay, you get a couple of other people who recognize Forest Tongue and a couple of people who recognize River Speak. Basically, no one understands Flame Tongue, and maybe one or two get Low Realm, and no one gets High Realm.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Instinctually, you're guessing that the main native language here is Air Tongue. It's just a cultural enclave of people from the north. But enough people speak River Speak and Forest Speak that you can get the idea across to the crowd.
Okay. How do I put this? Before I go any further, is the written languages different than the spoken language? Is there one unified written language?
No.
Every
language
group
has
its own script.
Okay.
Yes.
Didn't know if it was a uniform thing. It's just a matter of dialect and speech and what have you. So I just
It's
wanted
an
to-
entire world
Realm-
that has many writings.
Yeah. Realm is you can get away with maybe writing something that can be read in both languages, but otherwise no.
Okay.
So
okay. I do
Repose
have
is-
one thing I want to try to point out though, because I want to pull off a background thing. In a piece of a patch of land in the dirt, he would draw either a rune or a symbol for Sasha the pirate, his great grandfather, and then
I'm going to roll. I'm going to take a tradition from some old games I'm in. I'm going to roll a luck die, where that's just I don't know what I want to do, so I'm going to let the dice choose. There is a smattering of I recognize that's a symbol for somebody important, but I don't know who that is. So there's no there's no panic, but there's also no partying. There's a recognition of you're related to somebody important, but I don't know who.
What plus sale do I have to roll to recognize that?
Which sale?
although he wouldn't be river pirate, he'd be ice pirate, but whatever.
Yeah. And
And
meanwhile,
then water pirate. Pirate.
Repose's chill roll has decidedly still deeply confused the populace, but okay, we're not here to be killed by sorcerers. We can relax a little.
Hold up, I have to look up what is the sale excellency. What does that let me do? Actually, do I have fine passage negotiating? I might not have the excellency for sale.
You probably don't, frankly speaking.
You'd be surprised because there was me making the character
Right,
just going,
you got
"Oh,
every excellency because that was a suggestion we made.
It is
did not take the sale."
It is
Reroll
successes and reroll sixes until the.
I did not take the sale excellency, unfortunately.
Okay,
Hey, Darren.
what's up?
I have got a question for you.
Hey,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
This
you
is an
recognize that is a historical pirate that came from the north and just raised hell up and down the Yanase for a while before disappearing down south.
I just
but-
drew the symbol. I'm not pointing to myself about it. I just drew it.
Go on, Doc. Sorry to interrupt.
So I had an idea, but I didn't bring it up because I just hopped out very quickly and I was tired.
Yeah, it's fair.
And sick. Now that like a lot of old man's story is on the floor, would you mind if I purchased a lore specialty for just the large store of knowledge that he got by wandering around for like 50
Absolutely.
years?
Like, just, I am old as fuck and I have wandered the land is a valid
Yeah.
lore specialty in my eyes.
Yeah, I'll put down Wandering Lee's Journey as a
Yes,
specialty.
yes, that is perfect. And if
Specialty
you
that
wanted to
applies
apply
for
that,
old information rather than new information.
Yeah,
Yes.
it only works for old stuff because he then went on a mountain for a long time.
if you
He
want to
lived
roll
a
on that
bunch of
symbol,
history.
that actually would apply because you would have been around when
Yeah.
this ancestor was actively pirating.
Yeah, that would have been about 100, 150 years ago. Closer to 150.
Which means if it was about
Okay, you would
like,
it would have
maybe
been
just
contemporary
recently-
history.
Yeah, within
contemporary history.
Yeah.
Stories probably told you as you were growing up of, well,
Yeah.
this dude.
Yes.
You were told bedtime stories about that pirate. This is, you know how kids are told bedtime stories about Blackbeard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This was your Blackbeard. Is that symbol?
Mhm.
Like you feel a sudden moment you haven't felt since you were a small child of just like,
Oh, yeah, that
fuck!
guy.
It's the cool pirate.
Shit, that guy.
Oh man, I haven't thought about the cool pirate in a long time. So yeah, everybody roll me read intentions on old man to see if the old man can keep his shit.
Well, okay, y'all are gonna have to beat 5.
Yes,
Kyle,
I know,
so go
but
for it.
this is
Nope.
too funny. This is too funny.
Oh,
Oh, gross! I hate it.
Milan, you see a moment of like
Finally.
actual childlike glee in old man's eyes. It's just like, oh my god! That kind of like, look, before being immediately slammed shut into a neutral face.
Be it noted on the calendar that on this day, to his immense shame, old man experienced attachment for a material thing.
I have a question on
Terrible.
the character sheet when it says like your number for this +1. Does that mean it's 7, or if that number is taken into account?
You might have a specialty, and
If it's a specialty that's applying, then you add that +1. That is
Ah.
not. Yeah. So if it's 7, then +1 specialty, that would be 8.
do you have like a socialized specialty?
I mean, I have 3 socialized specialties, but none of
So,
them
yeah.
apply to the situation. Anyway,
There was a tiniest crimp up for his like the very edges of his mouth. He looked like he vaguely began to smile, and then it was shut down immediately. Then
So,
Milan
What's the
asked,
difficulty again? 5?
5.
Okay.
I spent 1 willpower.
Obsidian sees it.
"Isn't it Defenders win?"
If you meet exact,
I will spend
Yeah,
my free with
meeting
success to
a
boost it.
difficulty.
Eat shit, idiot.
Okay, so narratively, what happens is Obsidian swears he almost sees an emotion on old man's face, but no. I can't be sure.
I can't disguise from Milan. That's impossible. but I can make sure that you don't notice.
Yeah. Obsidian's just like, I could have sworn, but Milanin over in the corner is just like, you're afraid of Obsidian realizing, so you concentrate on, okay, I can't let him see. Milan is just behind you like,
Oh, I'm not telling.
oh, I know, but still.
Heh.
So, the collected crowd are just kind of glancing around at each other towards you, clearly letting you take the lead, because sorcerers, multiple possibly? At least one.
Angler's
I
going
was
through a
thinking
very
what happened.
conflicted field of emotions right now because certainly at this point it's like, all right, they're from the north. They can't understand me except for a couple of those people over there. They might be doing evil sorcery to make this valley have water. Why is there water here? And I don't want to kill them without getting information. Obsidian, hey, how you doing? Why don't you talk to them?
That is a sigil I have not seen in a long time.
Huh?
Old man points at it.
We'll talk about that later.
Now old man gives you a big toothy smile. Mostly toothy. He has lost a few.
That's
Just
fine.
You'll have to excuse me for the delay. I'm actually thinking about how to approach this
Yeah,
situation.
that's fair. That's fair.
I was mainly I was unironically here to diffuse and not engage.
And then I threw a curveball, yes.
Yes.
Angler lost any and all interest in hurting these people and went, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, they can tell me stories. They can tell me stories.
Okay.
Damn it, I can't understand them. My one weakness.
Hey, if you want to learn stories, I
am going to try very hard to learn air speak in the next
I-
12 seconds.
Guess the Obsidian approach would just be hello, we're from the town east. We've heard reports of excuse me. I actually got something caught in my throat halfway through that sentence. Ooh. Okay. Reports of banditry in the area.
They kind of look at each other, seemingly confused at the statement, and roll with socialize Obsidian for that reaction.
Okay. Yeah, I'll use the excellency on this for 2 free successes. I don't need it, but probably. Yeah. But I'm going to make sure that I get something out of this. I didn't need it, but that's 9 successes then.
Their look is, why is that a problem? You're mad? Okay. That's not how you do things here?
I would turn to you said like nobody picked up Highborn?
No one understands high realm speech, yes.
Okay, yes. I would turn to Spanner and say in high speak, they think it's okay to rob. But like in the sense that they think everybody does it.
Yeah, I kind of figured that was what was happening. In high speak, I'm responding. I kind of figured that was happening as soon as I saw them. It's just a thing a lot of them do because they don't have natural resources on hand where they are in order to do things. It's cold. It's ice up there. This is different.
As you're looking around, you remember as you were flying in, hey, this valley is getting really cramped. What do you do when you are in the north and your natural environments that are providing you resources start to get a little cramped? You go out and start.
Yeah.
You walk out and start kicking over doors and taking things.
People sure said, "Hey, look, Loranthans," a bunch earlier in the audience.
I'm not playing Valhalla right now. Don't subtweet me.
You know, Obsidian, there's a
time to have a serious talk about cattle. My cattle, and why they're in your pasture. Why you're on my pasture for my cattle. Get out of my family.
Thinking to send them down south?
East,
have them
actually.
more east?
Yeah, east over to where Mud lives.
Is Mud east?
Mud is southeast.
Okay.
It is?
I was thinking the same thing.
Mud is due east from where we are.
Right, yeah, it's due east. Right. Yeah, this is...
It would take a bit of a detour to go around the Hot Wild.
Mm-hmm.
remember that town is in a good spot. It's in a great trade location, plenty of land. The problem is they lost half their people to the dead.
Like, yeah.
Darren, I got a question.
Yeah, what's up?
What would I roll to see if I had done any transportation dealings or bureaucratic stuff involving in like the realm's territory in the north? Like, would I have
That's
some
a good
concept of their culture?
question.
Like, okay, I know how to.
Okay, so okay,
Yeah.
that would be. God, I feel like that is somewhere between I want a merit to justify that and a roll of your stats to see if you have anything, and I'm going to side on intelligence bureaucracy, but it's going to be a high difficulty to get anything useful.
Okay, I can accept that.
The people from the north that are speaking air, can I focus entirely on what they're saying and just trying to like piece together how the language speaks, every single word, just memorizing over and over until I can. Good God.
Yeah, with
you know what? Hold on a sec.
Also, there is a linguistics charm for exactly this.
I believe I have something about that. That's why I'm going through my stuff.
Yeah, like, there is a linguistics charm for just instantly learn a language at a conversational level. Or something close to that.
No, I only have one carried words, but I just wanted to try to, like, brute force it with just motes and linguistics power and sense, because my linguistics is capped.
Roll me wits linguistics with an excellency. We'll see how many successes you get, and that'll count as a temporary ability to kind of get what you're getting across. Meanwhile, Milan, you're getting the sense that this is probably... You didn't deal with the North much. You were busy in other ways and, other responsibilities. You're getting the sense that if they're this far out in the middle of fucking nowhere compared to where they came from, but they still have this strong of a cultural tie, they are either very recently coming here, very attached to their culture, and holding on to it as expatriates, and either way, most likely are not here because they want to be. It is likely that they are some sort of at the end of some political or cultural struggle that ended with them getting thrown out and deciding we want as much distance between us and whatever that is as possible.
I'm going to tell the group that these people are refugees.
I figured as much. I'm trying to think of the best way to word this for them, as in just saying, like, giving the suggestion, but the explanation of, well, you can't rob. It feels like the same thing as telling a kid, you can't do that, and then looking at you, why? Like, they're just not going to understand. No, you can't. You can't rob.
Propose is actually just going to wander off into the crowd here.
All right.
Propose is going to speak only in Old and kind of like downshift to like the more open form of Old, where you're not sure what dialect you're going to be speaking to on the other side, just keeping things pretty basic. You'll be asking around in what probably then is also recognizable to anyone who like hears Old used in such a way. Just asking around for, God speaker, dead speaker, spirit
Priest,
talker,
bone rattler, etc. Roll me manipulation presence with a 2-die stunt.
Excuse me, I am looking for think center person?
Mm-hmm.
Thought dad? Thought uncle?
Okay, so Angler, you are able to more or less conversationally get pieces of, like, you can speak in airspeak, and it's going to be very clear that you're kind of doing this on the fly, or that you haven't spoken it in years, kind of feeling of like, you can get your meaning across and you can understand their meaning, but it's going to be very clear that this is not your native language and you are not good at this. Repose, meanwhile, does get a kind of hesitant hand raise from several people, actually. They look rather disparate in their
open a dialogue.
appearances.
proposes for his own purposes, just, interested in meeting other local spiritual practitioners. Let's have a moot. Is that what you call a ting? Is that a ting? Which sort of talk circle?
Mm-hmm. So they kind of hesitantly approach you and greet you, and clearly in a manner of old realm that you are not fully familiar with the dialect of, but it is absolutely their way of establishing, like, peace be upon you, blessings upon your gods, blessings upon your regional, protectors, blessings upon those who brought you here, etc.
I have a couple.
Be praised, etc., etc.
I have a couple ideas. Loon.
Yeah.
That wine that you bought 1 billion bottles of.
I'm not sure if I had that much of the swamp vodka, but if you wanted to also have some swamp vodka, feel free. Probably.
Which town was that from?
That was from the guild swamp village, refrigerating.
Okay, that wasn't from Mud specifically.
Not from Mud specifically.
Okay. Do you have a bottle on you?
Good question. It's been a while. There have been some times of drinking, and we have not been back to swamp since.
Darren, do they have some sort of like marketplace or something?
You're standing in it, and disrupted the absolute hell out of it. And it's a situation where it's not exactly a fancy marketplace to begin with. This is not a place where you go for a major bartering and selling of goods and services of special.
Is anyone selling booze?
Okay, on the subject of the swamp vodka, though, I'm going to offer up a wits integrity roll to see how well the vodka has been rationed over the course of the journey.
Yes.
Here's 4.
All right. That is, you have had remarkable self-control considering all the shit that's happened since you got the swamp vodka. There's about 1/3 of the bottle left.
All right, hand it off.
Okay, but before we need that, is anybody selling booze?
You're unable to tell. There's a couple of bottles, but you're not sure what's actually in them. They're just like clay bottles.
I want to make a tradesman roll to identify those bottles.
Go ahead. That would be probably wits bureaucracy, because bureaucracy is the trade-ish kind of skill.
Okay, with a +1 for my tradesman specialty.
Yes.
I have a thought.
It is a socialized specialty. I guess not.
You can use socialize if you're talking around for just like saying alcohol in the languages you know.
Right. Yeah, in low speak or river speak, I would say alcohol.
And
looking over at the bottles being sold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
you don't even need to roll for that, honestly. That is, they just kind of gesture to kind of bewilderedly, like, you came here for, okay, right over there.
Okay.
But Milan had an idea?
Yeah, I'm gonna find a merchant, preferably a food merchant who speaks river speak.
Okay. Second part of my plan.
Okay, yep. Mm-hmm.
I would turn to Angler and see if he can figure out who the leaders are, if they're visible, like anybody that seems like they're in charge.
Well, I'd probably look at the people that are talking to Repose, because those people, if they're old speak, they're either shamans or people probably close to like the leadership itself. So anyone around them that's looking important, or who's probably coming to go talk to us right now with a squad of warriors and stuff in tow. So
you don't see any like heavily armed guard or anything, probably because they weren't expecting anything like this, and no one has run off yet. Like, the one thing that has struck you is no one has run away screaming from this scene. Everybody who was here that saw you land is still here. There has been no running of a messenger.
Okay. Angler's going to turn to the few people that seem to understand him and ask, we came off on the wrong foot. I was very excited when I saw this group. Did not expect it. who is in charge here so we might speak to them? Because we have trade to talk about.
Yes,
Our
good.
elders speak for us. We don't have a single leader.
Fantastic. Who? Please point me to them. Are they the ones? And I point. Are they the ones?
As you are gesturing towards the elders, they point over to who is speaking with Repose. It is
that's kind of
the unifying thing is they are all in their 50s and above.
Hey, if they start raiding because they don't have enough supplies, what if we establish trade routes and they get more supplies and stop raiding because they are bountiful?
Why don't we just take them to the place where they have the supplies so they don't have to be here anymore?
Hey,
the problem with that is that they don't have anything to provide for trade and probably don't have the money for it.
Also, it's a cultural institution for them. Like,
Yeah.
I will
Also,
say,
why not trade and also fight if people are too
Yes.
weak to defend themselves?
basically, I'm going to say, from Angler's personal family history knowledge and the way that, like, you have all been rolling on bureaucracy and just kind of getting it out of character, they view, so we're robbing caravans. What's the problem? Come get it back.
Yeah,
If
this.
you want it back, come get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how this works. You can't just cry in your city about how we're robbing you and then not try and get it.
Yep.
So, like, from their viewpoint, it's like, why are you mad? Just do something about it.
And meanwhile, Repose, like, dredging up a bunch of, like, perfectly preserved late shogunate and post-apocalyptic, early present era city-state attitudes about fighting between small societies, just from his ancestor, like, yeah, I don't get it either. Why are they so touchy about it? He's just actually falling in line with them in terms of, like, the gossip and small talk that can be presumed to be happening here of, they fight as much as any other people in any other direction, but you have to follow very specific rules or they just throw a fit.
Yeah, like, the elders are, like, actually, like, have gone from very hesitant to, they're like, wow, it's somebody not from our culture that fucking gets it. Why are we the crazy ones in this
That
world?
word they've brandished at you, bandits, is for people who they recognize as being of strength and of skill and of threat, but not to such degree that they will dignify you by recognizing you by clan or creed.
Yeah, pretty much, is they are not
Or title.
cohesively a political organization, so the word bandit was thrown at them, thus it was put on the map by the person who heard that name.
Are you the sorts who ever raise the king? That may aid in establishing some manner of
the moment you say the word king, there's a whole lot of just stone face. It's just like, nope, take that back. Bad topic.
Immediate withdrawal.
Have you considered establishing a parliament? Maybe a council?
All right.
Hand on the shoulder as soon as you say that. Like, too far, buddy. Too far.
They actually just kind of blink at that, like, what the hell is that? But
Okay,
Angler cuts you off first.
That's like step 6. We're at 2. Baby steps. Baby steps.
Either way, Obsidian's gonna approach Repose, who is talking to the elders, and say, why don't we take this conversation into the secluded area to have a good discussion about all of this. We need to come to a point that everyone can agree on, because if they do keep robbing the random villages and what have you, they will eventually incur the wrath of somebody who can take it back or just wipe them out. It's going to end badly.
Well, if we are preparing to make this more formal, let us be sure that some things are clear. I propose we'll turn back to the elders, do a little bit of flex of the anima and intone in the old tongue that he is of Gaia's people, and then
immediately on the
Obsidian
ground in front of you, prostrate.
as his brother.
Yep.
Before you finish the sentence, they are on the ground in front of you, prostrate.
Obsidian would just mid-conversation talking
but...
to brother, and then brother does that, and then they're on the ground, just turns and looks at them and just like, just has never had something like this happen to him before.
Hey, Angler.
Yeah?
Roll me. Oh god, what would this be? There's no real good mental resistance stat. Attribute is the problem.
Integrity?
It's integrity, but then what the hell's the attribute is the problem.
Well, alright, so have the environment throw some manner of attack at Angler's resolve. That is how this works.
Okay. So
An influence is trying to impose itself on a character.
yeah, that's a better way of thinking of it. I was thinking of it the old
Yeah, because this would be
Situation
going
is
against one of
instilling
his,
something.
your intimacies of why I am a god.
and trying really hard not to think about it, but yet still pops up occasionally.
That's 5 successes. What's your resolve?
My result, hold on. Resolve is 4. I could add motes to it though, but that's no fun.
Okay, you are just immediately like, okay, they're from my family lineage, and they treat us as gods. Maybe I can indulge a little bit on this, and nobody's going to be a cop about it.
That smile starts to creep in, and then he thinks about it for a second, goes, you know what? They kind of recognized it. Maybe we can... And he's going to turn over to...
Do you want to just
Milan's
fucking
hand
adopt a
goes on
clan
Angler's
of
shoulder.
Northerners?
No. Trust me on this. And he looks around for a couple tomahawks. If they're here, they've got to have some.
There is one off on the, just probably on a crafting table somewhere.
Is there a pair? Because he needs a certain way that they're thrown.
You can find 2 of them if you look around enough. And again, once you start picking up weapons, people will back the hell away from you. But
well, he's going to quietly say for a trick, and he's going to grab 2 of them.
that's less comforting. They go back for like further.
Oh, hold on. Let me stops and goes a boast.
Yeah, remember when we were
That
preparing
gets their
to visit
attention. They're
here
like, "Oh."
and Angler was all, just in case I have to slaughter everyone here.
Yeah, it's just pause, and not trick was the wrong word. A boast.
Boast gets them to go, oh shit, okay, hang on, get the popcorn.
Yeah, he's going to grab 2 of them, hand them to Milan, point at a local tree, and say something along the lines of, make them bounce, and one go up and one go down. Hit in midair. I know you can do this. There's a reason for this.
I can do that.
All
right. Seeking throw technique. Target is each other.
Yep. So is there a full roll on that, or is this just a happens charm in this?
Seeking throw technique's the excellency.
Ah, okay.
And as Milan throws, Engler, in his worst version ever of the air, is going to say, and he could throw an axe like an angel.
God. 3 die stunt. You can add 3 die to that.
Okay. Eight successes.
Are angels a thing in creation? Close enough. Translatable.
The word just
concept.
means messenger.
Yes. So, this is the sickest trick shot anyone in this village has seen in living memory, and probably the living memory of their oldest ancestor. Like, this is... We haven't had, like, the Princes of the Earth here in a while. We've heard stories, and it's watered down at the point of, like, yeah, okay, it's just myths. Everybody kind of exaggerates. Holy shit! Just the axes bounce off the tree, go into the air, bounce into each other. Actually, like, one hits a roof tile, the other hits the tree again. They hit each other, axes burying into their own handles, and drop onto the ground intertwined on each other. The entire village is now actually on their knees, looking at all of you, realizing, oh, all of you, okay.
And then he's going to smile for just a second, and then he's going to walk over to the elders, and he's going to offer a hand to lift them up.
They very hesitantly take it, but take it because, I mean, it's the hand of a god. You take it when it's offered.
And
This
then,
is also my brother? That is also my brother.
and as he helps them up, he's going to say, My great-grandfather is from the north. You're not dealing with a god, but a son of a son.
Roll me. Oh, man. Roll me manipulation socialize with the 3-die stun.
Wish I hadn't taken those points back and socialized at the last second. Oh well. It's fine.
Out of character, Obsidian hates this.
Oh, in character, Milan is furious.
No. He's trying to show them he's human.
And that is the message that gets across is, we are gods, but come on, we're here as people, is the intended message that gets the people back up after, okay, they're trying to not overawe us. We'll get back up very awkwardly around these people who we were viewing with religious awe and terror. What? They're still very confused as to what the hell are you doing here, visibly, but like, this is the arrival of a god, even though they're being humble about it. Don't question it, just let them explain things.
Yeah, the whole idea is, you might think us as someone above, maybe, but we can boast, we can laugh, and then he points over to Repose, we can yawn, we can get tired. We still breathe, we're still here. Don't think of us as something special, just think of us as someone a bit different, and we just want to talk. I'm sorry I got very excited when I first saw you, because you're the first people I've seen from my great-grandfather's home.
They are bewildered, but going along with it.
Okay, and now I'm going to usher them over to Obsidian to have a nice long conversation.
Obsidian would ask if they have like a tent, like a.
Yeah, there's a standing building nearby, kind of a not a full longhouse kind of deal, but it is one of the larger.
Where is
buildings
Boss
in town.
Hut? Where is Talking Hut?
The Boss Hut is over off to the side of the village, up on one of the hills.
Okay. Would at least ask himself.
Old man is actually still. Old man was included in the god treatment, especially as the stilts are present, and they're like,
look how old that guy is.
He is. We are a culture that reveres the elderly, and you are visibly a wizard. Cool. You are the one we're respecting. Just they are actually
old man the most.
Yes, like they're actively not engaging with old man as a sign of respect.
At last, he's home.
But yes, would ask Brother Repose come with him to be like an in-between mediator, because like he can obviously talk easier with them just language-wise. And would also, invite Angler, just the whole crew. Everybody can come if you want, or if you want to explore town, whatever you want to do.
No, we're gonna wait here. I'm not gonna. Well, at least I'm not. I'm going to wait here. I'm gonna watch, but definitely let you take the reins. I just wanted to make sure they understood just the people they're talking with.
Also,
so starts walking, and then actually would turn to Milan and say, hey, actually come.
Yeah, Milan is going.
Bureaucracy might be required.
I will also take a quick out of game aside to Senna. Now that this is established as not a combat thing, would you want Yang to be present to be able to be doing things retroactively?
I mean, yeah, I could just wander in here at some point.
Yeah, I will. I'm willing to retcon you being on the cloud so you can be present and not have to sit out of like most of the session.
I don't really care either which way, honestly.
Okay, so like you could be present if you would like to do things. And
if I think of a reason to be there, I'll chime in. But otherwise, just keep assuming I'm doing Jimbus tests.
Yeah. Okay.
I
just
really
wanted
have
to make sure you could. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you felt included and were able to contribute to the ideas. Mm-hmm.
Yang is staring intently at Bruce.
Yes. So
mixtures.
Boss Hut.
So Obsidian would wait for the elders to go toward, hopefully they would go towards the table. They're not waiting for him to sit down first, but either way, would wait for them to sit down for a meeting to commence, would request glasses, would start pouring from one of the bottles that he bought, continue to pour from the same bottle, pass out cups, continues to pour from the same bottle. Wow, there's a lot in that. I'm using sweeten the tap method.
Go ahead.
Yes.
For those unaware, because it's the first time I'm doing it, when you supply drinks, they use up height. The wording on this is weird. When you supply drinks, use to heighten potency and quality. Everyone partaking is treated as having a positive minor tie with the fellow partygoers and suffers a -1 guile. If you botch, it becomes a negative tie.
Yeah, don't fuck up because everyone's drunk.
They are drunk, so if you fuck up, if you say the wrong thing, it goes bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. Once the drinks are passed out and everybody has taken at least a sip, would begin saying, so as stated when we arrived, we're here today due to the taking of supplies and the attacking of caravans on the road. We understand that this seems as normalcy to you and your people, but around here, many people have not the higher ups. Yes, the bureaucrats and the leaders are quick to fight and take from each other, but the common people, the 80% that live, like, that's the word he's using, but something that they maybe understand a bit more, have no way to do that. And unfortunately, our leaders aren't as caring for their people as you and your all might be. And hey, if they're still fine, they're not going to go out and get those supplies back. So this just hurts the people who can't themselves defend themselves. They can't go and take what is theirs back.
One of the elders a couple of the elders kind of have the look in their eyes as they're drinking. I was just like, yeah, here comes the moral lecture. But a couple of the other ones are kind of visibly weighing that, going back and forth. One does say, would explain why we've had so little retaliation. Usually, we expect when we steal livestock or valuables, they would at least send somebody back to protect their own honor, but usually they're more invested in shoring up their walls and hiding behind it, and so we have to find another target the next time.
I would continue. Unfortunately, the way our societies work, they're not as closely knit as yours. If you are stealing livestock from the countryside, you are probably stealing it from a family who lives there on their own and is not part of a larger group.
They look actively just like, what? At that.
It is just how our people are at times.
They're like, so their families don't. Then why are they together if it's not families and they're not protecting the?
It's a family. It would interrupt with, it is a family of 5, maybe at most, as opposed to justers at the whole settlement.
The whole village's tent, yes. They look like you're trying to explain calculus to them, but they're following as best as they can. Just like, what? Why? Why would you do that? That's dumb.
All right, do you slide in and work another angle here? How long ago did your people arrive here?
Likely 2 generations past at this point. We thought this valley would provide more space and availability than it did, but truth be told, once we had such abundant resources, our ability to grow rapidly outstripped our ability to stay within the confines of this valley.
2 generations that you've spent living here.
They nod.
Just here. It is a fine stretch of land you found for yourselves, and it seems you've made fine use of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you've just kept to yourselves out here?
Well, look
In that
around.
time?
The only other land here has been claimed by much more organized and difficult to displace peoples, and frankly, our migrations have usually been taxing enough that when we found this valley, we thought we could stay here longer, but we have been discussing moving on.
Well, if moving on was already the thought, and how many, actually, a legitimate question, and I don't think any of us have asked yet, and would add to this, about how many people are part of this group?
As a network, probably 300, 400 people total scattered through the valley.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little more than that. I'd have to actually redo the population math density. It's supposed to be that they're starting to tax the ability of the land to support them.
Yeah. Out of character, I don't hate the idea of motivating them or suggesting the idea of going to live at Mudhouse and help with Mudhouse.
It would be a culture shock.
That's the thing I'm thinking of now. Now
It's
that we
kind
know
of
that they are.
assimilation.
You
Isn't
have
it?
spent 2 generations living near these peoples of the Near East, and from among them you have claimed no allies, made no partnerships.
There is a bit of a kind of shuttling back, as if you have touched on a kind of awkward and sore topic.
Let me get a read intentions on that reaction
Mm-hmm.
with a yeah, let me use loyalty reading meditation on that. Mediation, sorry.
They might just die anyways.
Hey folks, you're a quarter of a world away from where all of your respective forefathers were born. Yeah, same
Alright, so
hat. Why have you learned no local customs?
That's a 4 with any minuses that they're getting based on ties.
If anything, there's two things that you could guess from this kind of reaction. One of them is they're afraid that if they assimilate into the cultures, that the cultures are not going to like what they find and they're going to get stomped on. The others is that they look at the cultures around them and go, I want nothing to do with that.
Yep, that was exactly what I was worried about.
Yeah.
This sort of reaction of like, I mean, have you seen our neighbors? Do you think we want to be part of these people? Do you think they want us to be part of them? And it's like so with 4 successes, I'll also say there has been a willful lack of attempt to truly reach out after what was probably a really bad series of first impressions.
Yes.
They decided, yeah, no, fuck this place. We're staying in the valley, and we're gonna live here now. And now they're reaching the problem where it's like, okay, we can't do that, fuck.
You're seeing the consequences of being overly stubborn.
Yes, it is. They dug their heels in on the decision, and now,
Hundreds of you across 2 generations have each, of your own accord, surrendered to your current state of things.
That gets some bristle.
Propose is now intending to provoke out of this. Just, so you're giving up. Oh, you're afraid
This is
of a little cultural
socialized
drift
2
over the
die.
course
Yeah.
of your long migration?
Present socialized 2 dice on that.
Oh, what? You're too good to adapt to your surroundings? You think you're better than other living things? Look at this fucking guy who thinks the land has to change to accommodate him. Alright, so, presence you say that was?
Yes.
Yeah, I also, to chat, I've also had the thought of, what about Swamp? They're just bandits, and then, oh yeah, Swamp is a group of 20 people, adding an extra 300 people to the mouths they need
You
to
can't
feed
fit
would
400
be bad.
people into that swamp.
Yeah,
We
that
would blow
is.
their cover so quickly.
Yeah, they're trying to stay hidden, and adding a valley's worth of people would not work. So you immediately just get a couple of people who you could see the twitch in their hand of the reflex would be to go for like grabbing a bottle to break or grabbing a sword arm.
No,
or
Repose
then
doesn't
realize-
dissuade from this. Oh, you want to fight? All right. Oh, you don't want to risk losing touch with your customs? You want to die with honor? Come on, let's go. Fight me. You want a clean death? It's right here.
Obsidian.
Other people
Well,
can
that's
feel
my
free to get
presence.
into the path of that, but Repose just like, oh, are you that devoted to your
Oh,
cause?
you're
All
approaching
right.
me?
All right, come on. You think you're a martyr? Come at me. Let's see what you got.
So they actually do not quite rise to the occasion because while you
Wants
are
to
hitting
become
their
an
buttons,
ancestor.
they also realize this is a god saying this to them.
Menacing,
so
grinding noises from the Earthman.
this
Who
is
wants to get
basically
married?
like, okay, if we do take you up on that, we do all die, and we actually value our lives and our lives of our people around us to not die for a point. So they just sit there and just go, yes.
You have three options at this point. Obviously, the land isn't supporting you enough, so you can't even stay here and resort to banditry. You would run out of resources eventually and have to move on. So, and I'm not saying we're going to force you one way or another, but it's either you get up and leave and move on and find another place to live that can support your growing population. You try maybe once more to communicate with those around you, maybe integrate with one of the towns, help them, assist them, and sort of, I don't even know if I'd have to make a roll to make this as non-threatening as possible, just to say that this is one of the results that will happen. You and your own all will perish.
You're laying it out as just like, that's not a threat so much as like, I'm just laying out, this is what's going on. Also, yes, as Chad is pointing out, the population does skew very young. It's not fully kids, but it is mostly young adults because of the recent population boom.
Yes,
and I want actually specifically Absolute Repose. Please roll me Intelligence lore. Temple politics applies.
All right, let me dig up that number.
While you're doing that, would continue with, obviously, 1 and unfortunately 3 are the simplest 2 options. Getting up and moving, while tedious, some of your people have done this once before, and a lot of your people are able-bodied. It would not be that difficult for them to an extent. I don't know all of your circumstances.
Repose, meanwhile, as he's trying to provoke the reaction out of these people, suddenly gets a spark in their eyes. Because Repose recognizes, again, this is people, a quarter of the way out of the place that their culture started. Hey, wait a minute. Why do people usually move a quarter of the way out of the place? And why do they usually avoid integrating with notable societies around them? And why do they usually be very hesitant about people on the outside getting access to the interior of their culture?
So
Y'all got some heresies in here?
You did remember that
Do
they
I
said
sense the
blessings
hallmarks of-
upon those who came before you and brought you here.
Are you guys gonna assassinate a group of people?
They are in,
There.
you know, they
All right.
are within, like,
Whoever seems least
tactically-
intimidated out of the circle here, Propose is going to kind of point at and gesture to go outside. And
All right.
allow the rest of this meeting to continue.
Angler's out there. Angler will make sure nothing bad happens. I would immediately, as this is happening, would sort of sigh, look at that, say, I should probably stop that, but I am in the middle of a negotiation here.
There will be a quick hand on the shoulder to sworn brother of relax. Trust me.
Don't worry about it.
And
It's that I see them go outside and go, all right, well, keep an eye on that, and then just go back to whatever I'm doing.
Because this is just one selected
anyway.
out of the Elder Council.
Continuing my list of options, one, you and your lot could probably pull it off, though you would probably lose some of your number in the travel. You have done this once before, you know how this happens. 3 is not an option for you, I would assume. You would not commit your people to death.
No.
2, though. 2 is the hardest. 2, you have maybe to an attempt tried in the past, but people were not as open to you. Maybe because you, as my brother pointed out, did not want to give up on all of your customs, and would roll out the map on the ground, point to where they are, point to Mudtown, say, this is a town that me and my brothers helped in the past, saved, I would go as far as to say. They were on the brink of destruction, and we happened upon them in their hour of need, and were their salvation. They are still trying to get back up off their feet, as the thing that assaulted them made them lose half of their town.
They kind of look a bit horrified and like, what the hell?
It's a long story.
They take your word at that and don't ask questions.
You could also tell them the story as a means of establishing rapport. And
Could also tell them the story.
Spin them a yarn.
Right. On second thought.
Y'all ready for a long story?
Scald at him.
So,
Skull that motherfucker.
Hold up, look at my numbers. Look at my numbers here. Definitely only have a 1 in performance. But definitely have the performance excellency.
That you can't use because you don't have 2 pips in performance.
I can't 2 pips in performance. This is the story that gets him the 2nd pip in performance.
I will let you justify buying the 2nd dot for this to use the excellency.
Alright, so that would be a slash roll. Because I assume it's charisma.
Yes.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is-
7d10 greater than 7s. With a bonus success on that.
Mm-hmm.
And alright, I don't have a performance charm. Alright, that's a 5. Telling them the story about Rancor. And actually, no, hold up. I just came up with an idea for a stunt on this.
Alright, I'll let you
Would lift up his shirt to show the scar.
Yep.
That's a 2 dice stunt, as they
Yep.
are all just like, yo!
Just, this dude was this good enough. Well, okay, 1. Was this good enough to fucking scar me? Then I'm a
The
god.
physical gods, yes.
And then Skeleton
But
Man.
then you also stood up against him and kicked his ass. So, like, you literally have the whole, because everybody's getting decently drunk at this point, like having people banging their mugs on the table, just like, yeah!
Fucking nards.
Anyway, finish the story. Let everybody calm down and explain.
Skull. Fight somebody,
This
motherfucker.
town is still trying to get back on their feet. What they need is able bodies. If you are willing to integrate your culture with theirs, and sort of like rolls his eyes a little bit and stop pillaging, for lack of a better term, quite as much, if stopping it altogether, I'm sure they would take you. We'll
Just
give
a little
you,
less aggro.
we'll put in the good word for you for the town whose lives we saved. They'd be crazy not to give you a chance.
The elders council just kind of all looks to each other, and this is probably a good point to cut outside to Repose before they make their question. Hey, Repose,
As
what are
we
you doing with the...
take a bit of a quiet walk, a healthy distance away from Law Hut.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that healthy distance is established between the two of us and the rest of the village,
Mm-hmm.
there's like an ominous moment of silence as this man has followed this other holy dragon man out to a healthy distance from the rest of town after all that hostile energy.
Mm-hmm.
Then Repose abruptly turns around and is just entirely relaxed and calm and smiling slightly and nodding pleasantly and just speaking in smooth, pleasant, droning words. So how are you, Dad?
Oh my god.
That's not even a roll, you just win. The man stares at you before a bewildered smile. They are resting quite well and quite interested in the fates of their descendants. You may understand.
Have they been marching with you all this way?
We keep
I am
their...
admittedly, and like Repose is now actually acting kind of like bashful and now out of place. He's just going entirely back into nice boy mode rather than fight me mode.
Yeah.
I have not terribly read in the modern customs burial in the north, but I had some vague understanding that for those who are kept in place, it is often under great mounds or in other such full and present burials. You don't tend to make yourselves terribly portable beyond the extent of life.
No, that was one of the points of difference that got us found out, fortunately. We saw the burial mounds as, while they did venerate our ancestors and made them quite approachable, in their own way they were magnets for their own sorts of trouble. So, upon convening with our own dead, we decided that a way of preserving their legacy with us, regardless of our position in creation, which proved to be a fruitful forethought, was to instead switch to a method of cremation that preserved one of the bones of the body, usually a finger bone, toe, tooth, something small and easily preserved and portable.
Repose just slips in a couple of suggestions immediately after the end of that because, same head.
And he's actually, his eyes light up. It's just like, oh my god, wait, there's another ancestor cult out here and we just didn't know? This guy's internally, you can see, is like, this is why we had to fucking talk to people! We weren't the only ones!
Just like, just after the examples of, toe, bone, tooth, rib. You tried rib, right? It's right. You have the extra tiny ones at the bottom that don't do anything.
He nods.
That's
and
free.
He kind of traces his fingers over his sternum. This is the center cartilage.
Yeah, heart bone.
Clavicle.
But we were found out, and necromancy is ill looked upon in the north, and few can distinguish between a proper veneration for one's passing ancestors and...
Alright, that word gives a bit of a tense up and sharp looking at of,
He's like, as he's continuing, necromancy is hard for the common folk to distinguish between speaking to the dead and ill manipulating the dead.
Repose will take some time to spell out more cleanly polite words for, the rights of the departed versus the capital ecromancy that is not a word you throw around. Difference between magician and sorcerer here, fellow.
Okay.
Perhaps your own tongues and customs don't draw a sharper distinction. That is important in this direction. That is important in the direction of in front of me today.
He nods, very much kind of like taken aback and a little paled, but like, okay, learned that lesson the easy way. But he basically goes on to say, we were found out and people assumed the worst, so we booked it. And we were in a position where we could take our dead with us. Yeah, all of them. And he actually, with great hesitation, rolls up one of his sleeves with a bracelet around his wrist that at first looks like some sort of polished bead or some sort of woodwork, and it is tiny joint bones and teeth. This is my family. This is my grandmother. This is my great-grandfather. This is my great-grandmother. And on before her.
Propose will be replying to each of those with a solemn nod and a good day, miss. Good day, sir. Yes.
He rolls the sleeve back down. You may understand that when our first impression of this land was the temple to our north, the people viewed the idea of settling in personally amongst the people here and the religion so influenced by such thoughts as tantamount to suicide by another name. Meanwhile, back in the tent, Obsidian gets the question of, we would be willing to move on a rather sensitive condition. We have religious rites that may be seen as against common orthodoxy locally. We value them almost more than we value our own lives. And should our people be told to abandon this veneration, they will not accept this. Would this be a town that would be accepting of private belief?
Out of character, because this would be using outside information. Like, I'm not part of the conversation that Loon is having, so I would know.
No, this is back with us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Mud was particularly religious. Period. Right.
They worship the local gods of the clave pit and what have you.
Ordinary religious practices for the area.
Yeah. And decidedly chiller than the immaculate version of it.
Exactly.
So,
would say, well, I think they would be accepting, yes, but obviously a little bit more information would be required to give you a definite answer. Would specify with, I'm not a cop. I'm not going to report you. I'm very accepting of everyone's personal beliefs. If you have, as long as it's not,
if you hadn't blown out a story about fighting an abyssal with a performance roll, I would have asked for a roll to make them fess up, but you have established yourself as, hi, I got stabbed by, like, the ultimate evil of the underworld and punched it in the face. So they're like, okay, we can trust you on this. One of the other elders rolls up their own sleeve, and instead of a tooth and joint wrist bracelet, it is literally a section of rib that has been carved into enough small pieces to create a clasp.
And just extremely bluntly, very simply, oh, you respect your dead.
They are nod in kind of shock of there's not we're not getting okay.
Yeah,
you're cool with this.
Our brother
Did
can
you-
explain the whole situation to the people. You're good.
I
They
would
won't care.
immediately say, have you had problems with this in the past?
Yes, that is the reason any movement of the village's youth towards integration or moving out or settling in or, well, frankly, more the elder of among us. They kind of look at each other kind of like, yeah, but the hot-blooded of the youth as well. When we first arrived here, we attempted to do outreach. We attempted to speak with other cultures. We attempted to come to an understanding, and even if this culture of yours does not operate truly on the same manners of ours in terms of reciprocal, reciprocal exertion of youthly energy, we had the misfortune of meeting the local abbot.
Oh. Just immediately.
Their faces are just very grim at that.
Yeah, just both Obsidian and Beneath at the same moment. Oh, you
yeah.
met the Immaculate. Okay. No, this explains a lot.
That checks out. Yeah.
They don't even have to say it. There's a reason we didn't leave the fucking valley after that.
Yes. As much of a bad first impression. Not so much a bad first impression on your part. That is a bad first impression of our society on you. I can safely say the most zealot of the Immaculates do not speak for 90% of our people.
Well, it is both good to hear that many of your faith are more reasonable, and unfortunate that such a zealot has been enacted as the voice of that religion in these parts.
They are, to put it in terms of discussions we've had earlier today, they're very powerful, and not a lot of people are willing to step up to them.
They nod. That is certainly the reason we have not done so ourselves.
I find that in dealing with them, discretion is the preferred method of valor. There are many places that do not adhere wholly to their teachings, but are left be.
But yes, the town I am suggesting to you would be wholly accepting of your beliefs. If you merely just describe it as, we care for those that came before us, and this is how we do it, they'd understand.
This is a large promise to take purely on faith, but speaking as a champion against the unhail forces from below, and as a representative of the divinity of the dragons of the earth beneath our feet, I can hardly say that you can't be speaking from a position of malice. We are willing to entertain your offer. We simply just cannot agree to it. Jump on horseback and ride astride today.
Understandable,
Yes.
yes.
Now, I will say, our brother, who just stepped out, I would describe him as a like-minded individual. If you would like, I am certain he could...
One old woman in the back of the room shouts, "Do it!"
I'm certain that, if asked, he could explain the situation to this town, and your people would be welcome.
They nod. We would be eternally grateful for an advocate on our behalf that would be more eloquent than the local tradition.
Volunteering my brother for a job.
Frankly, a job that I think you'd be okay with doing, but you know.
What he was probably planning on doing anyway.
Yep.
But I think that's the conversation here pretty much done. I
Yeah,
don't think I have
the
any
elder
more-
tent is mostly kind of settled, and back
We finished
to
the bottle.
Repos. Yep.
Oh, that happens.
Back to whom?
Repose outside if you had anything else in particular to say to
Well,
the
so like
person
the parallel conversation that would have been happening about getting all that out of the way, probably, yeah, finding out about their bad encounter with the abbot, and like, yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, be vigilant. Stay the fuck out of their territory when they do actually go somewhere and claim it. But while the Orthodoxy has its presence in this area, we are far from the center. Their ability to enforce their beliefs on the general populace is wildly outstripped by the tenacity of all of creation's people to maintain their own ways.
The man
Respect their
nods.
boundaries as you would any other great beast. Great and terrible beast. And Repose probably like spins up an old Whelmframus of that is evocative for a way you would speak of a dragon without wanting to say the word dragon.
The way you don't say the actual old original name for bear.
The way you don't say bear, you say bear.
Yeah. He nods. You would forgive us, of course, for
How do you say bear?
Bear.
bear.
No, the old way, the danger way.
We don't know.
Latin is closer, but that is all we know. The person taken aside is basically like, you understand, of course, that even if this is the case and their control over the populace is so weakened, it is hard to truly impress that upon those who had been affected by that meeting. And this will take some convincing of the elders and the youth alike. And frankly, of our dead.
Do you talk to ghosts? Do they talk to ghosts?
They talk to ghosts.
But otherwise, yeah, it's y'all found the secret of the valley is they are ghost worshipping Orlanthe, basically.
If the group would have walked out of the tent, they would have actually found Angler not there until they looked probably somewhere like 20 feet to the right, where he's probably in centipede form, just mainly just skittering about, intentionally playing with a bunch of kids. Like,
Hey,
letting
I'm a
them try to
fucking-
like
Just to entertain
land
them.
like a hit with a stick, like at some animal or something, and just skitters away, and then just keeps doing it a little bit faster and a little bit faster to try to keep them up. And then when one finally gets close enough to do it, he just jumps
Alright.
10 feet up in the air.
So I suppose as well then, the point to bring up in conversation, actually, with this arbitrarily selected representative of the of local custom here. How old is the eldest of your remaining active and present predecessors?
He actually stops and thinks about that. Perhaps 4 centuries?
Dang.
Damn.
What?
All right, well, Repose is then in case going to lean in a little. Well then, as is often said in occult matters, as above, below. Here, among the living, you should be wary of the realm.
He nods.
Below, it strikes me as perhaps unbecoming of you that you seem unfamiliar with our names, and Repose will actually bring out the reliquary
There is active, like, wait, what?
and give a little bit of a internal channeling and bubbling and thinking about of the blood of just hey, just give a bit of a knock on the box of hey Gran, who the fuck are these? Who is this baby who is hiding in the backwoods on the edge of our turf?
There is a
Have you heard
pause.
of these folks?
Like, this is in the prayer roll because this is a situation where if any of this message got through, there would be a response. So there's a
Grandma's
pause, and then
probably listening to this.
a jostle, and then the reliquary actually kind of like starts to shake a little bit, like a pot under pressure, before it vents out a bit of ectoplasm, and a voice comes out of. That is a question I wish I had the answer to. The man is just staring at the reliquary, just like, default, just prostrate on ground.
You gotta
Marshall said
stop
this
doing
right.
this.
Be well. You put away reliquary. Well then, I feel it is perhaps one of the few manners of universal human custom in all directions. I suppose we'll be willing to, well, no one else is, here to stop him, be menacing towards this person who he can now look at as a junior and subordinate from multiple angles.
Mm-hmm.
Do not betray my hospitality.
Not planning on it. Not planning on it. Never crossed my mind. And you are very. There is no read intentions roll that could ever fail. No, he had not even once thought about that. He has been scared shitless of you this entire time.
Just, oh, hey, same hat. All right, so we are involved, and let me set down to you in no uncertain terms the pecking order.
No snitching. I'm the boss.
Ah, you are welcome on my land. You can bring your story in here and just note it on the fringes of our territory. Hey, who you should have been talking to about getting introduced and maybe allied with or otherwise diplomatically open to, hello, I'm their grandson.
Yep, that is message received.
Hi, dead boss here. We will forgive that you did not send the proper greetings the first time. You will want to make arrangements as you try to migrate deeper into our land, or, reconsider staying here and turn around. Your choice. We don't tell you what to do. Not at this distance.
Not right now. Not yet.
Grandma is 800 years old.
Yeah, Grandma is exactly the apocalypse old. Well, not quite exactly.
Grandma,
she lived a little while past that.
Grandma is twice as raw oldness as their estimated eldest. And
I chose that number.
An apocalypse survivor.
Yeah, I chose that number on purpose of, they think that's old. Repose's grandma survived the apocalypse.
You are like baby. What did your elders have to survive? Bear? Moose? Loud wind?
One fairy?
Rat.
Alright, my work here is done.
Saunters off proudly like a cat.
Yes, though, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically.
Although, as he is starting to saunter off, have a second thought and just briefly scoot back over next to him. By chance, does your village keep bees? I have recently found myself in need of goat wax and just slip into miscellaneous regular business. Now that the pecking order is clear, just, oh, by the way, hi. I am the nicest man. If you ever make me mad at you, you are beyond fucked up.
Do not meet my. If I am mad, my aunt should not be in the same zip code as you.
I'm the nicest man. Do not cross me.
Just, he kind of stammers out a general location where, like, they don't have many bees, but there's some. But then he kind of gives out the general place where you would find some wax. But just, he is clearly, like, so afraid he's barely thinking straight and, like, basically compulsively cycling through the bones on his wristlet like a rosary.
Pay for the information and for the hospitality and for the good measure, and then be off to go see some bees.
All right.
Peace be with you.
and with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, other business you would want to be taken care of in this region before heading out?
I'm good.
Do you
This
want to make a
region, we're
tree?
done.
Or at least a
Yeah.
cutting in a tree if they want to talk to you?
Nah. I don't see a reason why we would need.
In case the Immaculates up north get uppity?
Okay, yeah, I could. Yeah. For the reason of, hey, if the Immaculates start coming from you, this is a way you can get
The alarm bell.
Yeah, this is the alarm bell to call on us, and we will come help you.
All right. And that's
Other
just
follow-up note as we're getting ready to leave. Just you also don't need to all travel at once. Ooh.
Good
So-
lord.
Good art.
where your tree over in the Fallen River Province Valley was basically a caricature. You basically have just made a handsome Squidward of your own face.
I have made my face, but it also looks like Repose, so they know, oh, I need to speak with Repose. This is where I go.
Mm-hmm.
Strange hybrid caricature. Extremely detailed.
It is unsettlingly realistic. You're not actually sure how the hell you did that. You were just kind of chiseling, and then pieces fell off that made it unsettlingly natural organic curves that perfectly matched your face, lips, and mustache.
Does it normally do that?
Oh, you just put a cat next to it. Oh yeah, the cat guy.
Maybe I should take up this hobby after all.
So, yeah. You may...
As
Good
we're
problem
leaving,
solving, everyone.
Vanith will be handed the completed simple pocket sundial. It's a flat rock, and then it's a flat rock with a hole through it, and then just a tapered stick that fits in there, and then the rest is just talking about how to align it and getting it properly measured off with ruled marks for when each of the hours is.
Yeah.
You can always know which way it needs to be, because at noon it will cast no shadow, and that's it. Just talk about how time works, angles, space. Here is a clock, Mr. Schedule Man. Come on.
I'm humoring my brother. Of course, I would know how this works. Yeah, I'll humor.
We're specifically reminding him of directions,
the sun,
angles, so you don't get lost. If you know when it is, you know which way you're pointing.
Just turns to Repose. Repose, I lost my sense of direction. I still know how to tell time.
I thank you, my brother.
The sun rises in the north, right? Punch.
I shall cherish your gift.
If you said the sun rises in the north, would that be like a personal insult to Repose?
Probably.
That'll get a flick.
Oh, but the sun rises in the center.
I want you to know. Okay. Side story of really dumb fucking moment I had. So, living at your parents' place for 30 years of your life.
Yeah.
And you get used to, all right, the sun rises on, if you're standing at the driveway, the right side of the yard, and sets in the left side of the yard.
Oh no.
To which I went to my cousin's house, and they were describing like how they did this thing, and I'm like, but wouldn't that addition that you put on block the sun completely? And they're like, the sun rises in the back of the house. I was like, what?
I've done the same thing, man.
Reboot moment. I'm like, wait a minute, what? No, that's not where the sun comes from.
The sun comes from the right. The sun comes in through my bedroom window, though.
North is up. South is a number.
South is a number.
All right, I think we're done here.
Yeah, done in the
North
valley
Trench.
and moving on to the next parts of the agenda you all had, I believe.
They've been given the vague idea of thinking about packing up and moving claywards.
Yep. Let's go pick up anyone we didn't bring with us and head to
And
Clay.
a parting note to be sure of, to just suggest to leave off with them, if you're uncertain about whether or not you even want to move farther in, to send some scouts, send an ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
Just have a team go over. It won't take them all that long to just travel over there and go say hello. Describe the people who convinced you to come over there.
Mm-hmm.
Do not betray my hospitality.
If Repose gives that idea to the ambassador, Angler would perk up for a second and then do one of two things. One, ask her if they have anything he can purchase that would have the Sky script on it. Or just barter or what have you. And the second thing is if they want to talk to someone in the area that might be on their side, there's this nice old woman a little bit north of the Fallen River Valley. She might listen to you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's.
She might not agree with everything you say, but she's at least going to give you an option to talk.
Yeah, like that's pretty simple. You're able to leave that idea pretty simply.
But he is going to take a scroll, or I don't know if they would have a book or whatever he can have that would have some of their writing, and he's just going to immediately start pouring over it on the drive.
Yeah. Like they hand you some notes from behind the stall when they ask, "Can I have some examples of writing?" It's sure, and they gave you a ledger.
Don't you need? Nope, never mind. Keeping this.
Now that we've suggested this, thing to do probably on the way to wherever else we're going to do. Why don't we just visit Mud and see how they're doing?
Yes. Yeah, that's on the way.
I was going to.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
Next place to go should be Mud.
Yep, I was going to suggest. Why don't we stop by Mud?
Obsidian would be half and half. Had been keeping tabs on it because he had promised, delivery of supplies and stuff to them. So he'd know to an extent. But yeah, let's in person go visit.
All right. So again, it's about 2 hours, so it's getting into the mid-afternoon at this point, as the cloud carries the whole crew back over towards Mudbirds, and lands out in front of the road, not too far away from the mud pits, with the usually standardly impressive sorceress disembarkation from the whirlwind. Several people in the town immediately come out, just well, oh god, not again. Oh, never mind. They're visibly kind of delighted and happy to see you. There's smiles, there's waves. Several people call you by your names. You are extremely welcome here.
Hey.
Hello. Can you point me to your nearest tree?
I'm
joking.
Okay.
But also,
that was an earnest question.
He isn't joking. Show him a tree. Propose we'll head off to the memorial to check up on it.
Yeah, they would have pointed 10 feet to your left. But yeah, so going over to the memorial, it is how you left it in terms of its construction and its engravings, and it is still in very good condition. There have been a lot of flowers laid at the grave. There have been other personal little affects that are clearly personal belongings of the dead that have been left against the stone. Very much just people using it as a communal mourning and memory site. It's been very obviously well taken care of in the months since you've been here.
I am terrible at keeping track of stuff. Who else? Because we've sent more people here.
You alerted Grey Falls that they needed manpower. So Grey Falls said that they would send some of their citizens, tradesfolk, and priests up this way.
But didn't we also
the
Dragon Slaying
the defeated mercenaries?
Yes, we sent some of the mercenaries.
Oh, right. The defeated mercenaries were pointed towards Mud. Yeah. No, didn't you point
They were pointed towards Burr, and any of them who have completely lost the will to fight, it was suggested they proceed onward to Mud.
Right, okay. So you actually see not as many as you thought, but a couple of the mercenaries wandering around in Clay Bottom, and they kind of look up just whoa, fancy seeing you here, and just kind of go on with the rest of their day.
And check on Town Shrine.
So, as you approach the town shrine, give me a Wits Awareness roll.
one.
As you approach, you can notice a couple of things immediately. One is that some, but not all, of the iconography on the outside of the temple is gone. It has not been smashed off, so it is not, like, forcibly removed, but it is clear that there was a bit of a lean of, like, take a little of this off. However, it's not all gone, which means that they didn't have a complete chokehold. So, the Immaculate Faith has been here. The Immaculate Faith only extracted lip service.
To be expected. This is about, what was in mind when some talk was given to newly recruited, possibly still there, amateur priestess.
Yeah, and if you head on inside, you actually see the priestess kneeling before a small and iconic shrine representing what you're presuming is going to be the fields and harvests, as it looks like a shaped clay figure with abstracted, like, flowing grains upon it and other bits of chaff integrated into it.
He gets the season.
And she looks up and she's like, "Oh, Master Repose."
Repose will not correct that down to a more humble level. He's going to accept and appreciate that. Actually, I did teach her things. Yes, that's a student. I can claim this one. This is legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I don't feel the need to make a scene and dialogue out of this. We can
Okay, I didn't know
abstract out
if
and
you
gloss
wanted
over.
to catch up on it, but, like, the quick version is that the town has been shaky. Even the Grey Falls kind of sent it was token, in terms of, like, we'll send out some gifts, baskets. We'll send out a couple of missionaries to see how easy this place is to put in a chokehold. When they realized that it would be a long-term project to really uproot the heterodox beliefs, and again, most of the town was fucking dead, it would be either a full colonization project or bust, and it was just either decided that it was not worth it, or they are still in the process of deciding it, because clearly they haven't taken the place over yet. And from the priestess's description, it seemed like they were kind of sizing it up the way you would size up, a horse before you buy riding it, and they were like, maybe. And it was kind of belittling and dehumanizing in that sense, but also still kind of relieving that they didn't really go all in on, like, yes, let's take this place over. It was nice that, yeah, please actually overlook us, Imperial power. So right now, they are still facing a manpower shortage to a fair degree. Again, several hundred people died. And the couple of mercenaries and some people who decided to leave and go out to the sticks from the big city, and a priest or two, are not going to really change that labor dynamic. And it seems that the priest or two have currently gone out either into the fields, or she insinuates that one of them just wandered off because he was just like, well, fuck this, actually. I'm bored and I'm going to go do something that's easier.
Definitely going to go and shake hands with the new guy.
Okay, yeah, you would be able to go out into the
new
field
folk and go break them in, make it clear that, hey, no, actually, there are things in this town that are the personal works of the hands of a chosen.
Yeah, okay,
this
is not a roll because you will be finding a mortal immaculate. They did not send a dragon blood out here. They did not feel that much investment. You are pretty much immediately able to draw a line in the ground of, like, hi, they're under my auspices and the auspices of my temple.
Repose is experienced in drawing the battle lines and making the necessary exchanges. They have not defaced the memorial, and that is all the good faith gesture that he needs from them.
Yep.
To see that they're going to maintain boundaries. There's been an exchange here. They get the memorial slab, they take down a couple of icons.
That is pretty much exactly what happened, yes.
Everything is on the level here. There will be no conflict this day.
it is firmly established that the temple. Yeah. Now that you've explicitly spelled it out yourself.
Any argument that
temple,
isn't worth kicking up the chain to one of your terrestrials,
yes.
you don't get to raise a fuss about.
Yeah, basically, because you pieced it together and spelled it out yourself. Temple politics were interested, and then they realized, wait, shit, the Janissaries are out here already. Fuck.
If you call your boss here, they call me out here.
Yeah, no, and then they went back.
No
they
one
obviously,
wants that.
In your mind, this is their, like, you can immediately guess that a terrestrial went back to the same point and was like, ordinarily we would have, but no, this is a hornet's nest. Don't kick that. This ain't worth it.
This is similar distance from your city and our town, and we will keep it that way. DMZ.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, its town's been taking care of itself. It's still got a lot to rebuild from, and still got a lot of way to go. But it's chugging along. People are processing. People are
I would personally find like whoever is leader of town at this point, and have a discussion with them about our. I'm just gonna call them the Vikings for our shorthand.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, the Vikings, and say like, hey, so to the west, found what was assumed to be a group of bandits, and for all intents and purposes of their actions, they were. What they are is a different sort of people. They are from the north. They did not see taking people's things as a problem. They thought, hey, this is the thing that everybody does because this is what they do in their lands.
They kind of blink, but just go, okay.
The long and short of it is we sat down and had a discussion with them. Calmly explained to them that, like, no, this isn't what we do here. That's not how our societies work, and so on and so forth, all that kind of stuff. And then would further explain, like, they moved into the valleys and didn't resort to, in air quote, uses the air quotes again, banditry, immediately because they had the land to support themselves, and that is running out as their population is resurging after their long trek down from the north. So their options were attempt to integrate again, which didn't go well, explain the whole cultural problem in the same sense.
The moment you mention Immaculate Temple, they're just like, yeah, okay, but yeah.
I love that that's a thing. Just the okay, we understand. Just sort of explains, like, it's not even that crazy of a thing. It's similar to how anybody else respects their dead. They respect their dead. They just do it in a different way.
That does get a little bit of a we did have problems with the dead, but I mean, so long as they're not like actually making skeletons walk around. Okay.
No, it's just hey, some people may explains the whole bone thing.
Yeah.
It's sort of, it would be like wearing your grandmother's necklace for them. It is just something that belonged to those people that they keep on them in memory.
They nod and they're like, okay.
But let's get to the point. I explained to them that they had three options, which is mainly leave, die, or attempt to integrate again somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
They explained their problem. I said, hey, there's a town that we helped out months ago that is down on manpower. If you're healthy and able-bodied would be willing to help them, I'm sure that they would take you in. And it seems that you still are undermanned here.
We are.
How would 300 people willing to work and help you rebuild seem?
That would be a very large That would be a very large cultural change. We would be willing to accept the new hands, but it would certainly be a period of adjustment for both of us. Though one, honestly, I think our community would be willing to accept now. If anything, possibly those with the experience of venerating their ancestors might be able to give advice on preventing things like this happening again. If you and your band are no longer around.
Is Venif making another mask here as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I've already made it.
There would explain the one with they know who Venif is. I don't have to describe him as just the one with
Mustache man.
Mustache man. But anyway, would explain like Venif is preparing a way in his wizard ways that you would be able to communicate with him if there's any problems one way or another. But yes, we again, as much as I am talking with you, we had an even lengthier talk with them of, they have to make concessions. They can keep their culture, but they have to change some of their ways. And they said that they would be willing to give another chance. I'm giving you a heads up just because they might be sending a messenger or something ahead of time.
There's a just to intrude in here from characters and speaking, but ideas from the player here. Right down the road, there is a whole thing that would be an appropriate town site, but that has been left vacant for a while from believing it's too spooky.
I forget. Was it actually spooky, or was it just?
It wasn't haunted. There was just Fey residue that we dealt with.
It had Fey residue on it, but the active Fey residue has been disarmed or
thrown into a
replaced.
hole.
Yes.
Yes.
Crab was thrown in a hole.
It doesn't even have to be that they come and settle and integrate with this town, just that there is land waiting to be operated here.
Yeah.
They can disperse into the vicinity.
Yeah, could explain that. Like, they
yeah, and
how far away is that?
That's about a day's ride. The last time I think I saw it. That's like, hang on one sec. Let me get the ruler. That's about, that's 36 miles. That's like a day or two of a walk or a ride. So, that is, plenty of space for, if they decide that it's not going to work out living here, you just go to the actual ruins and rebuild there.
Yeah. Would suggest that. Just, if integration doesn't work, there are the ruins that we have significantly purified to the upper, to the upper right, to the northeast.
Mm-hmm.
They can go from their land, what are too crowded, to this land, which is recently very uncrowded.
And hey, in that scenario, if you still created good terms with them, you have a new trade network.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere Milan's mustache twitches.
Mm-hmm. Someone talking about commerce?
You can ally.
I want to do the thing where I've just been in the
Exchange
background doing
interests.
side quests again.
You can.
Oh, please go on if you have ideas on that. Go nuts.
What's the most inane thing someone could possibly ask for help here with? Think 14.
14? Probably either loose livestock or literally just help me get some building supplies from across town.
I am opening up the
Yeah.
Yakuza 0 side story list.
I'm going to need you to pump me up by doing an emote at me. That's all you have to do.
They have the ongoing problem of too many goats and not enough goat herds.
Yeah, most of the goat herds are dead, and now the goats are starting to go feral. Please,
The goats
please
were
help.
not harmed
I
by
have to
the
go kill
plague,
goats
so
in a turn-based fashion.
Yeah, kill the goats that have
Subdue
decided
goats.
that freedom is delicious and feast on the blood of the humans, and then go wrangle the goats that are still
In the
reasonable.
background, you see Yang and a goat taking turns hitting each other.
God.
It's only fair. The goat has to get a shot.
It headbutts you in the chest. Ow. Ow.
Yang, is
I'll
that
show
that
you my
family's
secret
only
technique.
goat?
You can see 3 or 4 other goats in the field behind it that are not inexplicably bloodthirsty.
Look, this one wants to subjugate the rest of them. He's trying to become the king of goats. I can't let that happen.
Really? The Goat King?
Yeah, I'm
Here
not
in
kidding.
this village?
Yes,
Who told you about the Goat King?
the goat. That's why I'm fighting him.
Repose
Keep
will
up.
tag in on this this goat solving problem. Get a good grip on it, and then snap off its horns.
Wonder who that crown of bone guys is gonna
The
Just
goat just
over an amount of violence, chip away at and eventually break off the horns. Oh, you're so tough now, Mr.
the
Smash.
goat
Look
just
at these. I
continues
got
to
your
robotically
smashes.
headbutt Yang.
That brings my focus gauge up to 3, and I use Grasping Rope Vine to rodeo the goat to submission.
Side quest complete.
And I
There
have
we
these
go.
perfectly good goat horns. You can make knife handles out of these.
Yep.
It's good material, polishes well.
Actually, roll me with survival, Sana,
All right.
as part
I'll
of your
separate that.
ongoing trading side quest fiesta in the background to see if anything useful has been shaken out of this. All right.
Like a nice
So
chunk of mutton, maybe? I don't know.
no. So I'm thinking about how to do this. As you are fighting the goat, and the goat keels over with a bleh, and is just a corpse on the ground, you hear a squawk from a bush nearby. And you turn, and you recognize the squawk at this point as this is a call of a Rhyton, scavenging bird animal.
No, my kill. Leave. Well, not my kill. You can't have him.
Ah. Wait, is that bird holding a letter?
Oh. Yo, pass that shit.
Oh no.
It kind of tilts its head as you walk up, and then hops backwards once.
I'm gonna crack it open as dramatically as I can and put on some fake reading glasses over my mask.
You are looking at what appears to be a bunch of mercury spilled on a page that won't stop shifting around.
Fuck is this? Well, if I give this to
What is this?
Repose, he's just gonna be like, "No, you can't have that, son. What have you got there? A heresy? No. Maybe Milan
Roll
would know
me-
what the hell this is.
You can also roll into Cult to see what the fuck this is yourself.
Oh yeah, I got Occult 5. What the fuck is this?
That looks like ink made of moon silver somehow? Like, it's a cipher, but it's a cipher in the fact that the text just doesn't stop fucking moving. So, maybe there's something you have to be able to do to get rid of this cipher effect, but you're not able to think of it.
What if I set it on fire?
That won't help.
Do you show this letter to any of us or no?
I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
What you got there, Yang?
Bird gave me this. Do you know what the fuck this is?
Well, I have a hunch since you sent that thing a few weeks ago, remember?
No, I don't.
You and I went outside and sparred for a little bit, and then you made a
Which
sacrifice to send a letter to that person.
Oh. No, still not ringing a bell, sorry.
Yeah, we sent a letter to Sybil.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, I mean, I can't read this, so I don't know why she'd send me this.
The
Well, what is
Rhyton
this?
has kind of hopped across the ground, remaining at a respectful distance behind the group, just kind of watching this as this is going on, kind of preening its feathers on its front legs.
Can I feed it?
Well, you could probably peel a bit of the goat off and throw it in its direction.
Alright.
It
Go get
it snaps up the meat pretty eagerly, just like, oh yeah, fuck, free food, nice.
Can I have a look at that?
Look at the letter or the bird?
Yeah. Yeah, the letter.
Okay, yeah.
That was
Screamed and looked
that
at
was
it.
a question directed at Yang.
I mean, I don't know what this is.
Let me have a look.
Yeah, anybody who wants to figure it out is into cult.
Not so much the intercult for the how to read it, but once it's just a certain amount of cipher, I could probably decipher it.
So, okay, actually, you roll me intelligence linguistics.
Yeah. Make sure don't have.
All right, Milan understands perfectly, but
Milan
let's see what
is-
Angler gets first.
What the fuck, Milan?
Milan is on fire tonight.
What the actual hell, man?
Milan opens his third eye. It also has a mustache.
Oh, okay.
Angler, you're looking at this and, okay, this is not a cipher in the sense of this is a ciphertext you need to break. This is magic. This is just magic bullshit. This is do the thing that makes this snap into readable text or don't bother.
Yeah, he gets like really excited because he loves doing cipher things like this. It's one of the few parts of his job that he enjoys, and then it's just, oh, it's magic bullshit. Oh, whatever. You can take care of this, Milan.
Milan, actually. So, Milan, with 9 successes, gets the entire set of the puzzle pieces. Not only is this a cipher, this is a cipher keyed by being an artifact, because, hey, Moonsilver is an artifact, and technically this ink is an artifact. If the motes of the person it is intended to be read by is attuned to it, it will in turn into a message. And hypothetically speaking, if this is a message meant for multiple different people, they could attune a mote to it and get a different message. This could be a letter.
A quantum letter?
This is a quantum letter. This could be for all of you. This could be like 6 letters, actually.
So,
and they might actually be ciphered under the text underneath. You don't know.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to not attune to it and just hand it back and explain, oh, this is an artifact. You have to attune to it to actually see what it says.
But, that's weird, but I guess I'll do that.
All right, so you just reach out the same way as you would attune with your artifacts. You just reach out with your motes. Well, mote in this instance. I'm not like making you manually.
I doubt I can fail to read my letters. Yeah.
But you basically just put your essence signature into the thing, and it's like suddenly has the text flow back into shape of Dear Yang. Presumably, you'll be the one who is reading this letter first if you figured out the cipher to begin with, as the bird
I sure did.
You.
I'm really smart.
In that event, I would like you to present this letter to the rest of your sworn circle, and do your best to make sure that Brother Repose does not burn it.
I was hoping I was going to go against his wishes by whatever. What does he want?
The main contents of this letter are actually directed towards your brother Obsidian. It is a response to the letter that he wrote to me. The rest are personal notes towards the rest of your hearth that I believe are relevant, apologies and otherwise things that I think that they would appreciate hearing. Signed, Sun Guanyang.
That's it?
All right, it's time for math.
Remember,
I'm just
the
the
person who
mailman?
actually no. Remember, the person who actually wrote the letter was Obsidian. You were just the intermediary to get it there.
Yeah, but like, they didn't even slip in like $50 or anything. What the fuck?
Who's it for?
I toss it over to like Milan in a huff. I guess he's probably the closest.
Yeah. Oh,
Your new side quest: deliver the mail.
Carry your rank up.
I'm going to attune to the letter.
All right. Wits awareness, Yang.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
That Raiton has a silver piece in its mouth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, paid.
Now the question is, did the silver piece come from the goat, or did it already have it?
Are you going to be asking any questions, or are you going to let the bird cough money in your hand?
Don't bite the bird that feeds you.
Bleh. It's
Thank
covered in kind of unsettling bird spit, but hey, it's money.
Eh. Just gotta wipe it down.
Does the Raiton leave?
No, it's still watching.
Oh boy.
It probably wants the letter back when we're done. That's a very expensive piece of paper.
So yeah, it is actually watching as the letter is changing hands. But Milan, as you attune the moat, Vanif Milan, I would like to formally apologize for not introducing myself in the proper manner to you in the proper circumstances. My name is Sun Guangyang, and I am a lunar, and I travel with my representative and partner, Sybil, all solar. You may understand as a representative of the realm that we keep a low profile. We do this in order to minimize the disruption that our presence causes, and frankly because, by our very natures, our direct interference with anything usually causes more problems than it solves. I am extending this letter to you as a letter of curiosity and questions in terms of your capacity as the, and this is in quotes, Minister of Transportation for the realm. It is no small secret for those who are involved with the realm's actual trade that such a position is rather skeletal. I would be interested in, however, in having more official trade ties to the realm with my personal business. Such ties are rather awkward to get, in manners that would be considered ethical, at least, and those are the manners that I prefer. If you would like to speak with me about establishing a trade route in the future, you know how to contact us at this point. Signed, Sun Guangyang.
So during reading this letter, Milan's face goes from all right to, oh my god, he was a lunar. Well, I never figured that out. To
Yeah, you were the last one to get that one.
Yep. Holy fuck! Oh my god, they're married. That makes so much sense. Oh my god.
Wait, sun and moon? And moon.
And then from there going to, oh, yeah. Let's do some business. And I'm going to hand the letter back to Yang and tell him,
Okay, 2 out of 6.
All right, who's next?
I have a letter.
Well,
I have
Angler is the
papers to go right.
Angler is the only other one present until you fetch the rest of them.
I'm gonna make a cool paper airplane and throw it at Angler and summon the rest of everybody else.
The Quicksilver actually, the Moonsilver actually all like kind of trails off in a kind of gooey, like, fluttering that comes up off of the paper as it flies through the air until it's caught. It is clearly...
that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Fucking lunars.
Alright, unfold the paper. Don't be what I think it is, don't be what I think it is. Attune.
Angler spanning all seas. I understand that you are a man who appreciates when someone gets directly to the point, so that is what I shall do. I apologize uncategorically for the actions of my partner, Sybil, and I also uncategorically apologize for my own actions in my deception of you and using of you. Sun Guangyang.
Huh, nice.
It's just one of those,
I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix it. I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's a habit.
I'm someone who you know I'm someone who appreciates when you get to the point. You took 4 sentences to get to the point. Whatever, it works. You could have just said, "I'm really sorry," and you would have been fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets a chuckle
Also,
out of
like,
it. Whatever.
Congratulations, you understand him.
Yes.
He both
All right.
called you out and then fucked with you.
Yes, I guess. I was like, but why would it? Whatever. Anyway, hands the letter back and waits.
Mm-hmm.
I would say let's do Obsidian last.
Yes.
Alright.
Repose would wait for last. Repose
No.
is very
I
disinterested.
will also
No.
I will also float that chat reminded, hey, old man has moats.
Old man does have
Oh, yeah.
moats.
What about me?
Oh,
Would
no.
old-
Repose does not go last. Absolutely not.
What about going? What? Sorry.
A letter has
old man.
a letter has arrived from Sybil and Guan, and it is in a cipher that requires moats to be attuned to the letter to have it be read by the intended recipient. Old man has moats. Would old man be curious as to if he has a message or not?
I mean, no. He wouldn't. It's whether or not everyone else wants him to read it.
Yeah, it's a matter of if he is bullied or not into reading.
I'm not going to make you read it.
I would respect
I'm
his
extremely
wishes.
going to make him read it.
Okay.
You gonna what? You gonna try and make me read it?
Hey, Sifu. I've got a letter for you.
Yes, young Milan. Sorry, I have a little bit of When I turn to copper,
lung.
occasionally, well, most of my body turns to copper, you see, and that includes all of the little fiddly bits in your lungs. And
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to get the
Old man
copper
just
filings out.
occasionally coughs up a cloud of green dust.
exactly.
Get that oxidization in there. Ooh, yeah. Anyways, it's ciphered in an artifact method, so in order to actually read it, you need to attune to it with motes.
Okay.
And
Stepping away a
it's
moment,
keyed to
actually.
individual people, so if I were to attune to it, I wouldn't get your message.
And
I'll be honest, I'm curious what someone would have to send a letter to you just out of curiosity.
and there you go. I'll accept the honesty. And old man grabs the letter. And he just kind of like holds it out in front of him for a while without
So how
like
do you do
actually
this?
imbuing it with motes at all.
Just watching the Quicksilver patterns go across the page.
Wait, Quicksilver.
Moonsilver.
Okay, see, if you said Quicksilver, there's a non-zero chance that old man would have just shoved that down his throat.
No. Moonsilver specifically.
And yeah, you just attune to it.
Well, you're assuming old man's not fucking with you by not doing it.
Yep.
Old man will go ahead and... How can he fuck with you right now?
The question is, can Milan fuck with you with new information that Milan has for Milan and Milan alone?
So, because here's the thing. Milan would notice if I decide to instead cast the illusion because it is obvious to other sorcerers when motes are being channeled.
Is old man going to use texture surprise?
Old man
Texture
would absolutely
surprise.
use texture surprise. Problem is that Milan would notice.
Oh, gee, he will just use that to some shit. I don't know.
Are we doing the I know that you know that I know that you know game right now? Is that what's happening?
Yes.
This is kind of happening right now, yeah, because old man wants to fuck with Milan, but I'm trying to figure out a way to actually let it happen. Because I don't know if I can. Alright.
I can think of one way old man, like, if I could volunteer an idea that I think would fit old man's personality.
Sure.
Turn the letter around and let Milan read it, but never read it yourself.
Perfect. Yes, 100%. That's extremely old man. Alright, yeah. I will go ahead and channel how many modes do I need? Just the one?
It's just the one, and it's a
Okay.
temporary commitment, so it immediately comes back.
Well, I don't get to actually commit modes.
Well, I'm waiving that for this.
Sure, yeah. Still. I mean, I also regen them faster than everyone else,
Yeah.
so yeah, it'll come back. It's fine. Yeah, gonna go ahead and just channel it, and then flip it over to Milan, and then that's it.
Not gonna.
The letter says
Okay,
very
I'm
simply,
curious.
Lee, may the weight of what you did to your apprentice weigh heavier on your shoulders than the metal on your skin.
Ooh. Yeah. Ooh.
Rude.
And yeah.
I'm just going to be making noises and not actually read it out loud. Like, concise.
And at any point does a breeze like go past? Is this any kind of breezy day?
Do you want a breeze to show you the letter, is what you're saying?
No.
He
I
wants to
want
let go of the
happen
letter.
so he can just have reason to let go of it.
Sure, there's a very light breeze.
Yeah, enough to grab some paper. So he's just gonna go ahead and do that and wipe his hands and walk away.
As you walk up, as the ciphering is beginning to fade, Milan sees one last thing that was written at the very bottom of the letter, as if it was snuck in there, in a different handwriting. P.S. Koi is right. Sybil.
Yeah, fuck
Well,
old man.
let's go find Obsidian.
All right.
And just grab the letter out of the air. He doesn't need to know that.
Yes, he does.
So, letter is presented to Obsidian.
All right, here we go.
Do you want to give it to Obsidian first and not? Well, okay.
Well,
No,
One
it's
is-
fine.
I said I go and find Obsidian.
Yep, I know.
so the letter is handed to Obsidian. And any particular reaction or just committing and
It is explained to him what the letter is, and he commits the moat.
all right. Obsidian Shield. I first of all want to uncategorically apologize for the actions of my spouse and myself. I have used you, as you have mentioned, as is an unfortunate tendency of mine in an unknown situation with unknown actors. I did not intend to... I should have written this one in particular I should have written down in advance because I need to word this carefully. Uncategorically apologize for the actions of myself and my spouse. The map was intended to provide information of the local area relevant to a group of Dragonbloods entering into an unknown political situation. The actions with which you took with it were not entirely within my control. As for the actions of my spouse, I will give no excuse beyond that what she believes, in that she believes that driving people into conflict with which they can better themselves is the best way of their own self-improvement and the ability for the world to stand up for itself without the needs of people like her and myself. Her methods, admittedly, are provocative, roundabout, and often annoying. And myself, I am predisposed to keeping as much information to my chest as possible. It has taken me approximately 3 hours to write this letter as this far. However, I do value your input and your straightforwardness, and I wanted it to meet you as such. Therefore, I wanted to be made clear that I agree with your statement that all debts and any sort of agreements between us are neutral. There is no expectation of further service from you to myself, nor was there much to begin with. And we, as a pair, are willing to assist you in what you want to do in the region in order to help stabilize it, so long as, and this is actually in emphasized, bolded, heavily pressed down on the paper, so long as we are not the primary actors in it. The lessons of the first stage still weighed heavily upon both of us, though we were not present. We know that it is only a matter of time before one of us takes up our own hands of how the world should go, and what happens beyond that. It's for this reason that we seek to empower those below us, rather than to take it into our own hands. Should we just wish to discuss this further, you may send the letter back the normal way, or seek us out on the trade roads. Once again, I wish you and your heart luck, and I apologize. Sun Guanyang.
Zane just sort of rubs his shin the whole time while reading this. Nods. Hands it back. That's about the answer I was expecting.
Time to burn it. Here you go, Repose.
You find Repose entertaining / exercising mode. He has Woolen Rag Ghost, which is at this point Moat's most favorite toy, and in frequent need of repair because of that.
Mhm.
He is dangling from the end of the rec staff, just on some string, and getting brandished about so that Repose can go through his routine practicing motions, and Moat gets to chase the dangly thing.
The Raiton following the group now maintains an extremely respectful, one might say terrified distance behind them upon the sight of the cat.
Ah, you are wise. There you got mail.
All right. Repose will just definitely take the corner of this thing.
You gotta put your juice in it.
Take the corner of it, just leave it dangling by the one corner from his hand while he's continuing with the other arm to brandish the stick about.
Mhm.
And distract mode, and activate.
Brother Absolute Repose. I'm sorry that Sybil proved herself to be what you feared in that moment. I would give you more information about how she is at other moments, but they would be as wind against the mountain wall to your ears. When I must fully admit that yes, she has her lapses of judgment as such. I view it as my duty to make sure that those lapses of judgment happen as infrequently and as smallly as they can. And I want you to be rest assured, I am the elder of the pair, and should she follow her path of her first stage self, I will not hesitate to end that path. Sun Guangyang.
Repose gives no apparent visible outward reaction to this, but per the not actually having that much guile, everyone can tell that this is the vaguely satisfied stoic. Just that, actually, alright, that went better than expected. Just,
Hey, not bad.
Good. Oh, weird. Sun figured out exactly the right thing to say.
So you gonna burn it?
No, he's just gonna drop it.
The Raiton is
Kind
now
of
staring
flick
at
it
the letter.
back in the direction of Yang and then resume.
I mean,
The
that's
letter is
a
now-
sacred duty he's doing, so I'll leave him to it. And then
Is
I
he-
go outside and I give it to the Raiton so he doesn't have to even think about being in the same room as the cat.
Alright.
Well, before you hand it back, do you want to write anything to also give to the Raiton?
Remember, folks, Repose hates Sybil. It's neutral on Guangyang.
Actually, yeah,
The
I
Rat
wanted
Man
to.
has done no wrong.
I wanted to send a response letter to Sun Guanyon.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Alright?
Actual details, I'll write them out and send them to Darren
Yeah,
at
sure.
a later point. But let's. I don't think I need to make a linguistic.
No, you don't need to make a fancy
a
roll on
linguini
this.
check.
I was thinking it.
Can I make a linguistics check to write a teeny tiny note at the bottom of whatever Venice letter is?
Sure.
Okay, it's just thanks. That's it.
Mhm.
But enough that they could recognize the handwriting is from Angler.
You get the feeling that they might actually enjoy a cipher just for fun. Like Sun, in particular, might enjoy it being a cipher.
You know ciphers?
You know what? Hold on a second. Hold on. And he just rolls up his sleeves. You know what? If we're doing this, we're doing this.
Yeah. No. See, it's fun to mess with them. Give them something to do. They don't get bored.
What happens if they get bored?
I don't know.
Oh, we happen.
Oh,
That's what
right.
happened.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was
we did.
actually... Okay, Chad actually reminded me of a very critical thing that was going to come up in the letter from Obsidian Shield that I actually forgot because I really should have written an Obsidian Shield letter out in advance and I didn't have the time.
That's fine.
The whole you didn't pay the standard rate. In both Repose's letter and Obsidian's letter, there would be a mention of our services in acquiring materials, artifacts, and such are yours at cost. for a foreseeable future, so long as you work for the stability of this place. Just, we will take all the costs. We do owe you. We did kind of fuck around with you. This is my way of trying to make good.
Noted. That would actually put it in like higher regard for Obsidian of like, okay, they are not just also accepting they are offering something more than what I all yes. Okay.
Good faith gesture that no, really, we are.
This is. Yeah, Sun is writing on behalf of the both of them, but they are both pretty clearly like, no, we will help. Just so long as we don't go don't make. The takeaway was generally like, look, you know what happened the last time Solar had to solve all the problems in the world.
I didn't solve all the problems, just one very large one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But they'd also said they'd be willing to help you on that one. So,
okay, so I have an idea for the cipher here.
Mm-hmm.
It's written almost like a coiled serpent, but in a way that if you fold the paper ever so slightly, it makes it so that the cipher seems to work, but then you have to look inside a mirror to get it to actually be the correct way to read the cipher. And it just coils in and out among itself. So it says more than just hello. What it actually says is, hello, would you be perhaps able to give us information? That's too many words. Hello, what do the other artifacts do? Not everyone's artifacts have been revealed yet.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And then the actual main body of the letter is just like me responding saying, hey, thanks. Yes, I would be interested in helping set up a trade between you and the Empire. Here's what you and I can both do.
All right. Yeah. That's the simple version. And yeah, that's easy enough to do. And you just decommit the moat, the Moonsilver goes back, and hand it back to the Raiton, who just gives you a kind of the most, another, but like, you have heard enough Raiton squawks at this point that this one almost sounds grateful if you could put an emotion on a bird squawk, and then it just kind of nestles it into the feathers along its back and starts to hop up around the ground, gets enough speed, and then takes flight and begins to glide away.
Darren, you know you can put emotion behind a bird squawk.
Yes. It's a matter of, this is a bird lizard, of it's mostly going to be crow squawks with a combination of, lizard hissing.
Alternatively, in my headcanon, that was Sun.
Who knows?
Who knows?
It may...
Maybe it was just to help
try to kill it and it lives, it's probably Sun. Do you want
Please
to
don't try to kill it?
No.
I don't want to ruin this trade negotiation already.
Birds.
I mean,
lats on the ground. Ah, shit. Now what do we do?
Your words, not mine.
All right, mail were exchanged.
All right,
So
I want
towns were visited.
I want everybody in the group to roll me their willpower maximum.
Okay.
All right.
What the hell, Sunna?
What? You got a botch, I got a success.
I did not get a botch.
You only have 6 willpower maximum?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That is intentional.
Dose.
All right, so it is going to be...
Can I spend willpower on this?
It's not going to help.
I'm joking, mostly.
Can I spend willpower on willpower?
So, of the rolls, hilariously enough, it is going to be Yang and Repose in character who connect this, if it has not already been connected out of character or in character. You have seen a lot of Raitons following you around, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I assumed it was just the area, but...
Yeah, weird how they keep showing up around times that you're doing important things that they have knowledge of later.
Yeah.
Birds
Yeah.
of liars.
I stand by
Rogues.
now.
Brigands.
Yeah, remember how, like, the first time the undead showed up, there was a million Rhytons around?
Yeah.
What was
And-
the undead?
It was the
There were
moose
also
and the
live
zombie
birds
raptors.
around. There were ominous live birds, and then the swarm of
Yes.
zombie birds.
And then Sunna, you know, the mice in the cart that spoiled you, the Rhytons that were taunting
Oh
the
yeah,
bear.
no, I've known this for a while. I just haven't been.
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep for like a facade.
Yeah, but more just you are literally thinking like, I actually can now say out loud, hey, anybody who's gone back through the VODs, catch how many times I mentioned Rhytons.
It was definitely a thing that I noted, like, oh yeah, there's a lot of birds, which is extremely why that Rhyton showed emotion. I'm like,
I didn't pick this up.
Yeah, no. Yeah. This has been a background thing the entire game.
Many birds.
It's a good one. It's a
Nope.
good one.
Yeah, it's partially because Rhytons are fucking cool, and also because, hey, remember how in the lower streams I said swarm trees were my favorite charms? The thing where you can split yourself into a million copies that can just go everywhere?
million copies, as long as one is as the size of a bee.
Yeah. Birds. But yeah, Ball was back in the court of the crew of where to go.
Well, I believe the next thing on the docket is to extremely investigate. Hell, man.
It is time to
Yeah,
X-Men.
it is time to go
Would-
fight Hatchet Man, or at least observe Hatchet Man before
Alright,
fighting
would you
Hatchet
be
Man.
going like to the Burr first, or just going straight to the Empire? Because if you go straight to the Empire, I think I might call the session there, because that's going to be a whole thing.
Burr is on the way.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I suggested we head this
And
way.
Burr
is
should be
because it
given
would
a
be
heads
literally
up
on the
that
way.
we're about to create an opportunity.
Go to Burr, spend the night, in the morning, go mess with Hatchet Man.
Also, the Burr might be on fire by the time we get there, depending on how things have happened.
Alright, so it is just after sunset by the time you land at the village, and the good news is it's not on fire.
That's nice.
There's not actually really any bad news either once you land. Again, just the kind of usual reaction of, ah, fuck, sorcery. But then they realize, oh, it's the Dragonbloods who were here a while back. And so you wander in and see...
You know, at this point, I ought to start landing a good distance away and we walk into town.
Yeah, okay. So...
It's fine. You can keep going.
Yeah, you head in, and at this point, most people are heading into like the tea houses and bars, or going into their own personal domiciles. The first thing that you notice is that the mercenary company has arrived here at this point. They are settled in, mostly just hanging around the bar. Right now. Dragon Slaying Burr is probably in her hideout right now still.
Is the vicinity of the graveyard looking more active?
The vicinity of the
More
graveyard is
energized?
yeah, it is looking more taken care of and more attended to in those senses. So you don't have like direct ghost vision of people hanging around topside, but like the vibes of it are like, okay, somebody's been jostling things a bit.
I don't think we need the entire team to have a sit down in order to just pass along news of the scheme.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, and honestly, yeah, it would just be a quick fill in of like, these are the mercenaries, this is the scheme we're doing, here's where we're going, here's what we've been up to.
Fallen Rivers declared neutrality, so you don't need to worry about them.
That is a huge relief to Burr. She was extremely worried about how they were going to go.
And just, oh, by the way, the peacock here may just be up to, some genuine fell magics and other
actual evil shit, and she doesn't even blink on that. It's like, yeah, it tracks.
So we had a plan to frame him, but turns out it might be real.
I mean, honestly, you wouldn't need to frame him for anything. You would just have to ransack his personal quarters, and you'd have anything, and you could find a pin on him. God knows what he has in there.
Hey, yay.
Huh?
You want to do some looting?
Yeah, I do. I
Is this a layer of adventure we want to put on the schedule for next time?
Some rootin' tootin' rootin'.
That is
yet another thing to delay going after Hatchet Man.
Or
a sneaking mission.
Like Hatchet Man post thing. Because again, that's gonna sit there on its own.
Post thing or pre
because
thing.
Hatchet Man is gonna also have a lot of looting. I'll say that up front.
Yeah.
This is going to be a stealth mission unless you decide it's not a stealth mission.
Let's put it this way. It's not whether we decide it's a stealth mission, it's whether or not certain people's dice pools decide if it's a stealth mission.
There is one member on this team that has stealth.
When I said stealth, I don't mean like literally not being seen. I mean more along the lines of, do you kick down the door and start chopping heads off, or do you go in and like talk?
Well, I can tell you extremely, hey, as far as the member of this team that generally does a lot of the talking and the socialized roles, does not care for Axeman at all.
Valid.
Okay.
But if we go in and talk, you might be able to convince some of his people to not try to kill you when you kill him.
Hear me out.
There are villages within that boundary that are not where he is.
We wait till we get to him first, and then we kick down the door.
God damn it, Brad.
Compromise.
Accurate.
All right then. It seems we've arrived.
Yeah, and I believe this is end of session. Yep.
Yeah. It's all
Next time, finally, the Hatchet Man.
Crimes.
War, violence.
War crimes.
Maybe.
A little of crime.
A little of atrocity against humanity.
There's a tree.
Next time.